Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. If you do miss something, don't worry about it. Get caught up at your leisure. We'll post all 3 hours both to iTunes and in our own audio vault. So if you miss anything, you have a lot of opportunities to find it and get caught up there. Same for the WTSM app. If you're periscoping the program, you're doing so on Twitter at 979 ESPN Radio while you're there. At Jay Cameron Show for me. Also on YouTube, it is ESPN Tallahassee or Jeff Cameron Show on YouTube. So hope you're doing well, YouTubers. I always like to say that. You can email us, jcs at 979ESPNradio.com. I'm trying to get there, man. I'm not feeling the juice for this Super Bowl. I get it that we don't have a team we care about in this game, but normally, the Super Bowl usually arouses some form of interest just as a sporting guy or gal as we are. I'm just kind of, I got to be honest, don't have a lot of passion or even all that much excitement. I know that you're not supposed to admit that, but I don't know.
Well, you got to be honest, so that puts two things at odds right there, and you're gonna err on the side of being honest, and we love that about you.
I am going to, because I don't know. Maybe that changes. I know it does when you're actually sitting there on a Sunday and you don't get burdened by the 16 hours worth of coverage. But if you tune in at the right time, maybe an hour just outside the game, and the announcers start their conversation, their talking points, and you start to think about historically, where this sits. And, you get to be my age, you've seen a lot of Super Bowls. I'm always amazed. That's one part I do like, where it places in history. Because growing up, you talk to your granddad or something. My granddad was at the famed Joe Namath guarantee. He was at that Super Bowl. He saw the Jets beat the Colts. And, when you get those stories, when they regale you with, I remember this Super Bowl or that Super Bowl. Well, when I was a kid, there hadn't been that many Super Bowls. And then two, and that sounds crazy, but there hadn't been that many. By the time I'm seriously watching, it's 76, 77. Mm-hmm. There hadn't been that many Super Bowls. Now there have been a lot of Super Bowls. And so it's funny. I think, my kids ask me questions. Well, what happened in 80? It's a fun game to play. Like, what happened in 84, Dad? I'm like, I think that's Washington and Oakland, I think. And you'll just go through that. By the way, check that. Was it?
All right, I'm looking.
Now I'm kind of curious. You try to you play that game. So for that reason, add another one to the ledger. And might we get something that we remember forever? It's true growing up. In the 80s and 90s, we went through a stretch where there was a real dearth of quality Super Bowls, where you had a series of blowouts seemingly every year. It was just, I remember, whether it was Washington and Denver, San Francisco, just so many games where you go, well, this isn't even competitive. And we've been very fortunate in the last number of years to get what feel like all-timers. We've been sitting here going, this isn't... go back, Tom. It's not all that long ago. We're talking about that Steelers-Arizona ending as the most amazing ending we'd ever seen in a Super Bowl.
That was something else. In fact, I don't know. It must have been NFL Network because they're doing all of the replays of the Super Bowl highlights and some outright just full Super Bowl replays. And I'll never forget that performance from Larry Fitz and the catch, and he breaks up the middle, and he's gone.
But because of the Holmes catch and the throw,
yes,
nobody
talks about it. It was like 6 catches. He had like 500 yards that postseason.
He was incredible, yeah.
Incredible.
I always hated that he didn't get that win.
Yeah, me too. So you're talking about Washington and
the Raiders
and Oakland?
Was that 83, 84?
83 was Washington over Miami. That was following the 82 season. So you always got to define your terms.
We got to define, yeah.
So in January of 83, Washington beat Miami 27-17. And in 84 in Tampa Stadium
is Oakland and
it was
Washington.
the LA Raiders.
LA Raiders instead of
the
LA
Rams, excuse me, over Washington 38-9. Just says Los Angeles.
No, that's the Raiders. That's the Raiders.
Is that the Raiders?
That's the Raiders. That's the Marcus Allen run. That's in Tampa Stadium.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was right, except for I called them Oakland instead of L.A. All right, so good. I still remember things. I just forgot that they had switched over to L.A. Yeah, that's the Marcus Allen run. He runs around in a circle, beats everybody up the middle, and then goes to the house, and they end up killing Washington, and Thiesman loses.
Thiesman.
Oh, because he changed it to Theismann only after he got famous.
The first one I can remember is January 29th, 1995. That was San Francisco 49 and the Chargers 26.
Holy ass whooping.
So next year it'll be a cool 25 years of Super Bowls that I can remember.
Oh, you'll have fun with this game, my friend. Yep, that's what awaits you. Harkening back, trying to remember each and every year, and then you come in on the big Bears season and that's back. Imagine that. So the '85 Bears, legendary as they were, now you're thinking about Bears Patriots and the lopsided nature of that game. Who could have ever guessed that the Patriots would go on to be this organization that was anything other than a joke back then, and now all-time greatest?
Well, I grew up, and I would have thought if they did, it's because Drew Bledsoe was the best quarterback in the game because he was in that conversation for a few years when I was growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you get to where I'm remembering that Dallas-Denver Super Bowl is in 78. I don't quite remember the Oakland-Minnesota Super Bowl. So from that point forward, it's the Cowboys, and it's the Cowboys and Steelers. It's the Steelers and the Rams, and that's Vince Ferragamo, and my goodness gracious. But, yeah, that's back in the 70s all the way to now. So add another to the ledger, and I can pretty much go through all those. I can remember, you're referencing the Washington-Miami game. That's the John Riggins game. That's 4th and 1. They give it to Riggo off the right side. He takes it to the hizzy. And my dad's heartbreak is cemented as a guy that, and he had it rough because – not only did Washington do that to him, but then 2 years later, San Francisco just lays the wood to Miami. And my dad was enraged because his friends at the party were saying, I don't know about Shula.
I could see how that goes right through, right?
It's just a knife in the belly.
Oh, man.
Nobody loves Don Shula more than my father. I mean, if you bring up Don Shula's name, you better be careful there better be proper reverence in the way you say it. And then, learning that as a kid and making sure that I didn't say it in a way that dripped with respect was a goal of mine.
You should call him in front of your dad Sir Don Shula, the way that, Jim Nance is always quick to say, Sir Nick Faldo, with me in the booth.
The coolest thing, my dad, of course, like every other, and this is one of the great compliments to Bobby Bowden, but as every Florida State fan, diehard fan who truly wanted to, could meet Bobby Bowden has, because he's been that accessible over his lifetime and his career, and you have ample opportunity to meet Bobby Bowden. He's always gracious with his time. The coolest thing I was able to do once I got into media was get my dad autograph football and some other items with Don Shula when they came up here and when they were opening Shula's. Mm-hmm. That was really cool. And it was cool for me to be able to talk to him in studio for an hour, but it was even cooler afterwards to say, hey, listen, my dad is a diehard Dolphins fan, Can I get this? And he was great about it. And it sits in my dad's man cave room, for lack of a better descriptor. Currently, he's got that enshrined. It sits on top of everything. There's the Don Shula signed ball you got me, son. Every time I go to Georgia to see him.
Every time.
Every time. I know, Dad. It's been sitting there for years. I got that for you years ago.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, long time.
I remember that event. That's how,
Yeah. So that's there were, but I talked about the stretch of Super Bowls that were really forgettable. Basically, think about this. In 93, Dallas blows out Buffalo. Then they blow out Buffalo again the following year. Then the 49ers blow out San Diego, the one you were just talking about. Mm-hmm. Dallas Steelers is a boring game, one the Steelers probably could have won.
Yeah, it was closer at halftime.
Yeah, they make terrible mistakes there.
You remember the Black Angus Steakhouse in St. Pete?
I do.
Yeah, I was there that night. And I was pissed that I was there. That's why I remember, because I wanted to watch the Super Bowl, and we had to go to dinner that night. I thought it was stupid. So I kept on getting up and going to the bathroom and walking by the bar as a little kid so I could go see the score and get updates.
But you go through a stretch there where they're not very good, and then you go back, and now how great was Philadelphia, New England? New England's crazy comeback against the Falcons the year previous that was 28-3. The Broncos and Panthers is not good. That's a dominant performance from the Broncos defense. But then 28-24 with New England and Seattle, and that's the big play, and it's crazy to think about. You had a stretch there where we really were fortunate.
You know, Pete Carroll has two key moments in which he doesn't hand the ball off to a superstar, and it could have won him a game. Fourth down, he gives it to Lendale White instead of Reggie Bush against Texas.
I forgot about that, yeah.
And then, of course, the Marshawn Lynch play, which is now more famous.
Well, the Marshawn Lynch play is the more egregious, I think, in terms of the argument, because if you only need a yard, giving it to the whale that was Lendale White would probably be something that you would expect to get a yard out of.
Reggie was on the sideline. Wouldn't you want him on the field? If you're going to use him as a decoy at least.
Maybe. I just don't know how that Texas defense, which was ass, got to stop. But they did. They did.
I mean, Pete.
That's the part that gets overlooked the most. Is everybody remembers the all-time great game that Vince Young had, but they had to get a stop.
I'm sorry. All I can remember are the Sports Century moments where ESPN goes in depth on this
USC would
team,
have beaten 15 NFL teams,
or versus every great college football team of all time.
You know, I think that's always the thing that you have to avoid when somebody's on a run, right? It seems like I can remember so many networks making the mistake of lionizing teams to the degree that you look buffoonish. They invariably don't stack up and or lose. And you think, well, why did we do that? That didn't feel very genuine, now did it? Like we were manipulating the people. Yes, exactly like that. Yes, you lost credibility in that moment. You're going to tell me that team not only is the greatest college football team of all time, which it's not, but B, would beat, a quarter of the NFL teams. We're done here. Click. Because they wouldn't. They wouldn't beat the worst NFL team. In fact, it wouldn't be competitive. People love to do that, though.
Well, in the offseason, you need to talk when you work with Mr. Neuheisel again, because he claimed that it would be close with this Alabama team this past year. And
the one that got blown out by Clemson?
Yes. He said, hey, I've coached at both levels, so why don't you take my opinion?
Okay, I love you, Rick. I know you. I got
to talk to him.
Got your number on my phone here. I could call you tonight. We could argue about this, but I got to tell you, that's crazy. And
well, he'd say, you know what? Clemson would beat more of them.
You got to resist the temptation there, guys. You can't do that. That's always not true. Always. Greatest college. I mean, in the modern era, I don't know. I didn't see the difference in levels in the 20s and 30s between pro footballers and college footballers. So maybe there wasn't much of one. But in the modern era, there is every player, even on the worst team in the NFL, was their college team's best player, basically, at their position, or one of the best in the country. That's how you get to the NFL. We're just, slowly weeding out those that are merely mortals at playing the game of football. You've got to be, we see the guys.
It's defense. It's defense. It's different.
It's crazy.
It's the linebackers. It's funny, we watched Jameis.
Jameis said that.
Jameis said it right away. So that's the difference. It's the second level. Those guys can do things at their size that make no sense.
Well, and all you got to do is watch one game in which Luke Kuechly's out there, and you go, what are we doing here? Look at this freaking guy. Insane. Can stop the run, can cover, is faster than you realize, not because he's white, just because he is. He's huge. He shouldn't be able to run like that. No. And there are a lot of guys like him, by the way. I mean, now he's a perennial all-pro, but I'm saying he's not the only one.
Patrick Willis,
yes.
Navarro Bowman. They were two of them in the same.
No, I know. It's just nuts. You're like, look at this guy. Who does that? Who's 252 pounds running 4.5 with the hips to be in coverage? It's nuts.
Still, think about he's a mid-level to upper-level linebacker, but I thought his career was over. He was apparently hurt. But Levante David is another player who can fly. He can fly.
Well, imagine going against a healthy Quan Alexander. You can go on down the list. There are guys on every team in the NFL that possess linebackers that are unlike anything you see on a week-to-week basis in college football. In college football, twice a year, if you're in a good conference, 3 times maybe, where you'll say, man, they've got a pair of linebackers that you got to be careful. If you think he's open, he's not open. They're closing. And you try to drill that into your quarterback's head when you're facing those guys.
Or your tailbacks, when you're talking about don't get greedy for cutbacks.
Right,
or don't look to back. Because that 1/10 of a second is the difference between getting 3 and getting -2.
Yeah, it is fun when you talk to in that case, we got a chance to talk to Jameis about quarterback play, and that's always fascinating to me, how quickly things close. He talked about you do see great corners in college football, and you recognize that those windows are awfully small. But it was the linebackers that he just did not anticipate how quickly they could get to that level.
It changes the trajectory of
each pass and the accuracy you have to have, and it's also why we marvel at if Derek Brooks' Hall of Fame career. I mean, he was the guy that allowed the Tampa 2 to be the Tampa 2. That wasn't just – it wasn't like the Tampa 2 confused anybody. It's that he could get back, and there was nothing you could do about that. And he could also close on the run. He was a missile.
Yeah, NFL linebackers can do what the NCAA video game said linebackers could do, and what I would scream at the television because
they can't do that.
You can't do that.
That's not human.
A one-handed 360 interception, that's not even physically possible. But I had to walk it back when I saw guys like Kuechly do it routinely, which is ridiculous in how they change what you have to do. You got to throw a rainbow in order just to get over these guys because they can jump through the gym too.
Yeah, it's Well, anyhow, the game's changed a lot, but that's why you never say what Rick Neuheisel said, which is that these teams would beat a professional team. They would not.
Well, and as you were talking before, I quickly scanned through all the Super Bowls, and I know if you're a diehard fan of any sport, you can probably do this for the championships every single year. I'm sure a lot of people could do World Series every single year if you're a baseball diehard. But I remember 5 or 6 things about every single Super Bowl I remember, ever since I can remember Super Bowls. There's always 5 or 6 things, 5 or 6 players or moments, turnovers, unexpected things. I mean, you can picture them all. And I think that's the thing the Super Bowl has probably over any other sporting event in the country.
The aforementioned Steelers-Arizona Super Bowl that I talked about being so legendary and certain performances being forgotten because of the final throw and catch.
Yeah.
The Harrison touchdown.
Yo, that's it.
99 yards.
And it's Larry Fitz's pursuit on that play.
It's an amazing play. And he's
supposed to blitz on that play. He went on his own. He decided on instinct that he was going to sit back and wait there. And if he does what he's supposed to do on the play, it's either a touchdown or incomplete or whatever, but that swing does not happen.
So what's your iconic moment from last year's Super Bowl? 41-33 Eagles-Patriots.
It's a couple of catches in the back of the end zone. It's the Philly special.
It's the Philly special. I think that's the one most everybody would say.
But there's a catch in the back of the end zone. I forget who. Matthew, I'm sure, remembers who it was. But, I mean, dragging his feet. I mean, it's just there are a couple of absurd offensive moments in that game.
It's weird because now that game feels like it was played eons ago. I don't know why. I feel like I have greater recall, and maybe it's just me, of the Patriots-Falcons Super Bowl played the year previous than I do last year's. Now, maybe that's because you have the greatest choke job in the history of professional sports with the Falcons blowing a 28-3 lead and could have literally taken a knee on each possession and won the game. But anyhow, beyond that great choke job.
Well, I remember the 2 trick plays. So the one works obviously for Philadelphia, but then Brady's unable to reach and make the catch on his. I mean, even a few years back when it was the Seattle and Denver
43-8, not much to remember there.
It was the stunning first quarter when you're like, oh, wow, it's just a slow start. All right, I guess he's going to have to come back. And then you're going, oh, my God.
They got nothing for him.
Oh, my God, this thing's over.
It's the safety. I remember the safety, right?
Early on.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just see the over. It almost looked like Denver expected it to be as we did, which is just another moment for the sheriff. And it just never happened.
I think I was looking, we were talking about, there are some Super Bowls where I do struggle with some of these. I mean, I will tell you that I don't have a great recall of, let's say, 34. No, that's wrong. What was the ugly game? There's an ugly game. Oh, it's probably the Packers-Steelers. Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, so Woodson gets hurt late in that game, and he's unavailable for the stretch run.
Why do we not remember a lot of the Aaron Rodgers Super Bowl, but we remember the Aaron Rodgers playoff run and going to Atlanta and undressing them? I remember that being played in the Dome and all of that, and we've talked before.
Well, I think we've talked about this before. We were both deathly ill. I was ill for that Super Bowl.
Well, I had a stretch of Super Bowls where I was sick every year
on the couch, alone. But I can remember that Woodson got hurt, and it was the end of a career. But I thought, man, can they close this out? That was a Green Bay team that was known for getting pick sixes. They was kind of like the New Orleans team that ended up beating Indianapolis in the Super Bowl. There was something about the turnovers, always with the returns. I think it was Shields who returned a lot. But Woodson was always in there too, and then it was Rodgers and Roethlisberger, and I think Green Bay got up and Pittsburgh made a run in the second half, but it came up just short.
The uglier Super Bowl to remember is the one at Ford Field with the Steelers 21-10 over Seattle, and that's a penalty fest.
It's a penalty fest,
and they screw Seattle.
There's a trick play in that game, too. It's Jerome Bettis' homecoming. Remember
it never stopped.
Well, they climbed the ladder.
I get it, you're going home.
That was the Vanderjagt run. That was Vanderjagt in Indy. And, the referees really, Holmgren was less than pleased that night.
Oh, that was, every single call went against them.
That was also the night that I learned I hated a certain kind of beer that we both don't like that might be made here in the U.S. of A. I was going to a Super Bowl party, and the person who hosted it had only that particular kind of a brew.
No.
And it was god-awful.
That's not that kind of party.
No.
It's not what we do.
No, it's terrible.
That's just not what we do. At least you have, not just remembrances of the field and those stars that shined, but rather the party you were at and who ruined it. Check. You can tell that person, you know what? You're etched in my memory for the wrong reason, pal. I've been to a lot of Super Bowl parties, but yours is the one I remember.
You taught me not to waste money on that crap.
Yeah. Florida State recruiting. We'll touch on it next. Jeff Cameron, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
School over in Jacksonville, the one with all the good football players.
Bowls?
Right.
What are you getting at here, Jeff?
Mo used what to cut his hair?
I don't know, Jeff. What is a bowl?
Boom. A bowl indeed.
Hey, that gives me an idea.
Really?
We should have bowls here at Gordo's. We can do all kinds of bowls. We can do chicken bowls, fish bowls. We can do steak bowls, pork bowls, veggie bowls. Brilliant. I'm a genius. Jeff? Hey, Jeff.
Hi, this is Gene Deckeroff for Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. 2019 is here, and we've got to get rid of all the remaining 2018s. And the only way to do that is to offer employee pricing on over 50 Jeep Wranglers in stock. We've never been able to offer such unbelievable prices on Jeep Wranglers, and with over 50 in stock, they all must go. Buy one for as low as $29,900 or save up to $5,600 on in-stock vehicles. The all-new 2019 Ram 1500 is Motor Trend Truck of the Year, and it's breaking all kinds of records. We have over 80 Ram 1500s in stock with up to $11,000 off MSRP. You can't go wrong. Motor Trend Truck of the Year and up to $11,000 off MSRP. It's the deal of the year. There's only one place to go. Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat on the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle. We're right on the corner and always right on the price. Or visit us on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. Dealer retains all rebates and incentives plus tax, tag, and dealer fee.
Need help moving? 2 Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit 2men.com or call them at 850-224-2232. 2 Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
Everybody knows that the holiday season is also known as engagement season. Now that the season's over, it's time for some planning. Social Catering has several options for your wedding event and catering needs. They're Tallahassee's largest catering company, and they manage event spaces at venues like Madison Social, Township, and The Gathering. They can plan all of your wedding events, engagement parties, bridal brunches, rehearsals, even wedding receptions. No new rock on the finger? Hey, doesn't matter. Whatever the event, they've got you covered. For more details, email matt@madisonsocial.com. Again, that's matt@madisonsocial.com. Hey, Jeff Cameron here, and it's the new year. What's your New Year's resolution? Well, if you're planning on being healthier, it starts with a good night's rest. You've heard me talk about the tossing and turning I was doing before, but now I wake up feeling great. It's amazing what a difference a good pillow makes. My Pillow had an amazing offer of a 4-pack special. It was such a rare deal at the time, but the good news is this. They've extended their very best offer ever. That's right. Go to MyPillow.com right now. Click on their end-of-the-year special, and here's what you'll find. The lowest price MyPillow has ever offered for their 4-pack, and it includes free shipping. Gets better. Their 60-day money-back guarantee has been extended through March the 1st. Best price ever, free shipping, extended money-back guarantee. What else do you need? Go get it. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the end-of-the-year special, enter my promo code, that's key, 979ESPN, and you'll get 2 premium MyPillows, 2 go-anywhere pillows. Nothing better than a restorative night of rest. Go to MyPillow.com to get it, and enter my promo code, 979ESPN.
Wilson extends the hands he has. Wilson, quick throw. And it's good. Intercepted. Intercepted by Malcolm Butler. Butler has it at the 1. Malcolm Butler stepping in front of the throw.
For the first time, Tallahassee's sports monster is your home for the biggest game of the year.
Zero's on the clock. It's over. The Eagles have beaten the New England Patriots.
Super Bowl 53 is on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Westwood One's presentation of Super Bowl 53, brought to you locally by Liberty Tax of Tallahassee, the law office of Jose Fernandez, and by Truck and Car Concepts. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Funny, I did a radio hit today in Atlanta with the Chuck Oliver show, and he was talking about Florida State and Auburn being in a very similar position. Obviously, we're fighting for every offensive lineman that we can get. He was noting that he thinks it's funny both fan bases seem hell-bent on celebrating the least bit of success when it comes to these offensive linemen, kind of implying that Florida State is and Auburn both fighting hard for 2 and 3 stars as if they're 5 stars. And I said, man, when your goal around here, and I'm not going to disparage these kids because I haven't seen them play, and yeah, I know some of their rankings and all of that, but whether it's Darius Washington or Ira Henry or Kamar Bell or whomever you're talking about, when your goal is to not roll out the same group that you rolled out last year, anything is seen as significant upgrade. And frankly, there's a chance, just by sheer numbers, with what Florida State's targeting between the high school commits, junior college transfers, or junior college kids coming in, and grad transfers, that you will potentially greatly upgrade your starting 5. I mean, there's no, whether it's a 5-star kid or a 3, I mean, that's how bad this group was, is my point. And that, again, I'm not going to sit there and continue to shame them. We know what they were. But if you throw numbers at the problem, and they're not just, they're at least of a similar caliber in terms of the people that are recruiting them. You have to be the quality at least to be targeted by an Auburn or another Division I power or something like that. If that's true, there's a chance if you get 8, 9 in total that you find 3 or 4 that are significant upgrades over what you had last year. So, yeah, there's reason to be excited about that.
Ira Henry, man. Listen.
I know. If just to look at him, you got to believe he can play.
Right. Well, I'll take anybody that even looks the part at this point. You know what I mean? And let's just see if he might not be a big-time upgrade. Mm-hmm. Because we know, and you said it for a long time, this predates even working here on the FM dial, that offensive line ratings, recruiting ratings,
very difficult to get right, very difficult to gauge
compared to other positions. Absolutely,
they also
true.
change significantly. Like a kid will not even be well thought of or not even really looked at as anything more than a 2 or 3 star, and then all of a sudden Saban will make a visit and he's a 5-star shortly thereafter. I'm exaggerating, but that's how quickly it can change.
There literally was a kid this cycle who I think is Charles Cross was his name, was a 3-star when he was committed to us. He flipped to Mississippi State. Now he's a 5-star.
Yeah.
Because they're updating the recruiting rankings. I don't know what changed it. I don't know if he went to a camp or if his senior tape came in.
People looked at him and wanted him, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, if your reputation is such that you routinely churn out elite-level players at a position, the mere fact that you would – it could be any position. Like if you're – obviously, Nick coaches defensive backs. He is considered to be one of the best, if not the best, at doing so. If he's on a kid – and they've overlooked him, and he shows up to look at him, that kid's ranking's going sky high real quick.
Yeah.
Whatever your prowess is, it's going to be noted.
Well, and you're talking to Chuck today about Bell and Henry, because those are the two specifically that Florida State and Auburn seem to be neck and neck for.
That's right.
The thought is they might be playing together, so hopefully it's 2 for 2 and not 0 for 2, man, because I don't know that they're going to be splitting up. So next week, next Wednesday could be pretty big, for all the talk of early signing period and getting done with 80% of your class or 90 in some cases for some schools. There still are a lot of big fish out there for us.
Well, as of today, Greg Fry was visiting, and again, you're talking about FSU trying to grab an Ira Henry. They saw him today. Willie Taggart was doing the in-home for that. That, according to Michael Langston at warchant.com. They're going to try to obviously create a level of confidence that they're going to be able to get him, amongst others for that matter. They're talking about Florida State going out and trying to get another perhaps grad transfer in this class as well. So there are
there's the kid at Virginia that we seem to like, and hopefully he likes us too.
Yeah. So at this point, man.
But that one doesn't. The end date is not next Wednesday, signing day for the grad transfer from Virginia. And the other grad, where am I from? The Midwest. Other grad transfers too. I sound like Charlie Campbell. I said they're grad transfers, Jeff. But that can go all the way into March. I mean, it can go into the spring if they want to wait until they're actually done with their studies.
If we were going to do the Charlie Campbell carryover, silly goose. Kamar Bell, by the way.
You're a silly goose, Jeff.
Kamar Bell also being visited. So, Coach Woody, Mark Schneider, Jay Ward is a defensive back, and then Kamar Bell being looked at today too. So I do like that Willie is visiting Joshua Braun, a 2020 guard, and also a 2020 offensive tackle by the name of Zane Herring. That's right. We got to get on these guys. Let's go.
Boy, that Zane Herring guy, I only did a flyby on Twitter this weekend and trying to find other stuff, but Zane Herring kept on getting retweeted into my timeline. I don't follow the lad.
He's 6'5", 310 pounds. He currently fields offers from Florida State University, Tennessee, Virginia, UCF, Temple, UAB, and USF.
He was a frequent tweeter this weekend about the greatness of Florida State. So.
He is a tweeting Jesse.
Yeah, big time.
Well, he is looking more and more like a Noel out of Madison County.
Hometown, man. Stick with us.
I don't know anything about anything when it comes to these kids in high school, especially those that are in Madison, but 6'5", 310 fits the bill. Is he mean? We'll teach you the rest.
Doesn't matter how you gerrymander, right?
Yeah.
If you're 6'5", 310.
6'5", 310 and mean, you got a little what for. I want my linemen to have an awful lot of what for. They want to finish the block, if you will. I mean, the thing that, and we all remember before the draft last year, that I was overly excited by a certain prospect and that I thought all of the eggs needed to be in one particular basket, Tom.
Yep, it was Gary Danielson, Tim Tebow-esque.
Yes, right. But I wasn't wrong. Turned out I was awfully right, unfortunately. Quentin Nelson was that guy. If you're wondering at home, I doubt you are if you've listened to this show ever. But that said, what caused me to do that was the ferocity. The meanness. It was lots of guys you see on film make the blocks that he was making. Your upper crust linemen that are going to be drafted in the first 3 rounds have tape that looks similar, at least in terms of technique and size and strength and all that. But I saw nobody else that seemed to enjoy inflicting pain as much as he did. I saw nobody else that finished his blocks and took great zeal or did so with great zeal, as I did with Quentin Nelson. And then now we've got freaking audio footage of him screaming as he pulls to destroy a linebacker.
Yeah, he looked interested in making sure your shoulder blades were stapled to the field, because if he pancaked you and you started to get up,
back on you,
he'd hit you again.
He was a son of a bitch.
Would you have traded our entire draft for Quentin Nelson last year? Not with the picks we got. Just you don't know who we're picking, so you could trade all the picks to get Quentin Nelson. Did you love him that much?
I don't know about that.
Did you Mike Ditka that thing?
I wouldn't Mike Ditka that thing. I wouldn't give up every pick, but I certainly would have given up quite a bit.
You wouldn't have traded all the picks, got Nelson, and lit the cigar? And just
I
said,
would have
all right,
traded
everybody.
the first couple. Yeah, I would have gladly traded the first couple. I said you get our first and our second, allow us to move up there. And yeah.
Susie, I was from Philly, but they got rid of me, so I'm going with the Giants.
I know everybody looks at footwork when you're looking at offensive linemen. They're like, okay, let's get the footwork. What's the technique there? Gotcha. Kids out of high school, it's tough to know if they're going to transition, but you're going to give me size, requisite size, and a level of meanness. We'll work with the rest if you believe you got a good offensive line coach.
My question would be for tackle play, if we have a standard defensive end, rush end in alignment, not going all the way wide out, if he's just in a standard pre-snap position, will he be a free rusher or not? Because if he's not, that is an upgrade, and that's good news for us.
Yeah. God, I just want to hear about an overabundance. I just want to be inundated with reports of another lineman saying yes. Time and again, just a ridiculous level of me saying at some point, stop, we have too many linemen.
We are casting a really wide net right now.
Keep casting. You've got to feed the masses, Tom. We need many a mullet. Let's go. Make it happen. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
To avoid penalties, visit talgov.com today to see how you or your child can join in on the fun.
Hi, this is Gene Deckeroff for Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. 2019 is here, and we've got to get rid of all the remaining 2018s. And the only way to do that is to offer employee pricing on over 50 Jeep Wranglers in stock. We've never been able to offer such unbelievable prices on Jeep Wranglers, and with over 50 in stock, they all must go. Buy one for as low as $29,900 or save up to $5,600 on in-stock vehicles. The all-new 2019 Ram 1500 is Motor Trend Truck of the Year, and it's breaking all kinds of records. We have over 80 Ram 1500s in stock with up to $11,000 off MSRP. You can't go wrong. Motor Trend Truck of the Year and up to $11,000 off MSRP. It's the deal of the year. There's only one place to go. Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat on the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle. We're right on the corner and always right on the price. Or visit us on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. Dealer retains all rebates and incentives plus tax, tag, and dealer fee.
Are you ready to experience an awesome fishing expedition? Sea Quarters Marina is home to several great charter services. All charters are customized based upon the types of fishing opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Sea Quarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
It began with a challenge from the game's greatest players, a mission to solicit speed from every detail of the driver. The new Titleist TS2 and TS3 drivers were born from the pursuit of speed. And now Edwin Watts Golf challenges you to find a faster driver than the new Titleist TS2 or TS3 by participating in the Faster Than Yours Challenge, exclusively at Edwin Watts Golf. For a limited time, test your current driver against the new TS2 and TS3 drivers, and you could win a $200 gift card. Come take the Titleist Challenge today, exclusively at Edwin Watts Golf for a limited time only.
This is Chris Kraft with news that is sure to change the car buying landscape in North Florida. Our brother Peter and I are now the proud new owners of the Infiniti dealership in Tallahassee, the all-new Kraft Infiniti. As Mercedes-Benz dealers for over 25 years early in our careers, we know how to sell and service Highline vehicles the right way. At Kraft Infiniti, our mission statement is simple: to provide our customers with a car buying experience that is unsurpassed in value, consideration for your time, and pure enjoyment. Finally, the Highline experience you deserve, and it's from the Kraft Brothers. Infiniti is much more than a brand name. It's a lifestyle and it's a statement. And at Kraft Infiniti, Peter and I will go beyond your expectations in providing the best sales and service experience in Tallahassee. So come see us at the all-new Kraft Infiniti, beyond your expectations, and brought to you by the Kraft Brothers. Kraft Infiniti, 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast, conveniently located between Home Depot and the I-10 flyover. Call 297-1488 or visit us on the web at craftinfinity.com.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Steve Lennox. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell at his Super Bowl news conference today in Atlanta. One of the main topics, future of replay and the non-call of the NFC Championship game with the Rams and Saints.
Our coaches and clubs have been very resistant, and there has not been support to date about having a replay official or somebody in New York throw a flag when there's no flag. They have not voted for that in the past. It doesn't mean that we won't. It's something that we're going to put to the competition committee, see if there's an answer to that. But the reality is that's been at least an opposition philosophically for many clubs.
ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting today, the league is expected to consider a plan that would allow limited coach challenges for incorrect judgment calls. Goodell asked about the Raiders' home for next season, and he said the hope of Mark Davis is to continue to be in the Bay Area for the fans. Saints coach Sean Payton met with the media today, said his anger lasted about 24 hours after the team lost the NFC Championship game. After that period, his reaction has been disappointment. Rob Ryan, who has not coached in the NFL since 2016, has been hired by the Washington Redskins as the team's new inside linebackers coach. Kyrie Irving will miss a Celtics home game tonight against the Hornets. Irving missing his second straight game because of a left hip strain. NBA doubleheader tonight on ESPN television. Game 1, 8 Eastern. Pacers and Wizards in D.C. Jazz Blazers follow in Game 2. Both games available on the ESPN app. According to reports, free agent reliever Greg Holland and the Diamondbacks have agreed to a one-year contract for 2019. Deal worth $3.5 million. Holland would be able to earn another $3.5 million based on 2019 performance bonuses.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Feels good to hear Sports Center with baseball news. Yeah. Makes me happy.
Whoever signs Harper and Machado is going to get those two on the cheap, huh? Compared to pre-free agency expectations.
What was the Harper expectation about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago? I believe those articles featured stories around $400 million.
Could he be the first $500 million player? I remember at least a couple of articles about that because he was doing astronomical things. He was coming off of
he's so young and had already had so much experience.
And his ops was through the roof. This is before last season started, and some speculated the Yankees would be willing to make that type of splash. But no. Nope.
Well, but they've already made that. They went and got the former MVP who, I mean, you got a lot of money invested in a couple of guys in New York.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little – I mean, it's not that they can't do it, but I think it's fascinating. The Phillies have to invest in one of those two guys. If you look at the Phillies' prospects, of which they have many, and you look at their current roster, the teams that have to look at Machado and Harper are the ones that are trying to win in the next 2 to 3 years a championship. You will spend to do that if you're in position to do that now. And the Phillies are really close, so they're a team that needs to land one of those two guys. But there are precious few that you would say are close and willing to part with a 10-year, 8 to 10-year deal at the kind of money they're talking about?
Well, I think if you're looking to win the next 2 or 3 years, that's more Machado territory. I think you can extend the window of expectation for Harper a little bit longer given his age. But what I found interesting was on MLB Network. That's right. I watched it in the
Damn
offseason
right, you're
for a
getting
while.
caught up, buddy.
And they said, because San Diego expressed some interest, the Padres, that they have so many prospects coming up in the next couple of years.
Well, a ton of them.
This could jumpstart that whole process and bring in a veteran bat who is a superstar and maybe speed everything up for him.
So this is interesting. If you just look at baseball as a grand soap opera and remove your affinity for a team, and this is something that's kind of happening to me as I get older, the broader, the breadth of what the league is, right? I find those stories fascinating. It would be really interesting if the Padres signed one of those two prospects or one of those two superstars to go along with all those prospects and then to sit back and watch it play out over the next 6 years. How quickly would they bring up the 7 to, I think it's 9 total top 250 prospects they have to go along with some young players already in the lineup that are really special? It's, it's a hell of a thing. The Padres are uninteresting to the vast majority of baseball fans. I'm not saying that they don't have value. They do historically and otherwise. I'm just saying, if you think about baseball, you don't think about them. You think about the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Cubs and lots of teams before you think of them.
If you have Trout with the Angels and Harper with the Padres, what are we doing?
Not good for baseball, I don't think. The Phillies also have their eyes on a Trout. And you're talking about the potential for someday having those two in the same outfield. I mean, good gracious. That's something to behold. But anyhow, the Braves are young and exciting with all of their talent. And, baseball's in a good place if they can put the ball in play. They really have some young superstars and really cool storylines developing in Major League Baseball. The Mets could be one as well.
We're not quite Frankenstein's creation, but we are a bunch of patchwork players that it could work, but it all revolves around the same question we've had for the last 2 or 3 years, which is how healthy is the rotation going to be?
Well, they never are, and then moreover, you never play good defense either. And so, I guess the two could go hand in hand. If you could
oddly enough, with Cano, we'll be better up the middle when you put him and Rosario together. But not that the names matter. The whole key for the Mets is relative health, and then obviously they're going to get on base better this year. Not going to strike out as much as they have the last few. The funny thing was that we were one of the first teams that started the whole wave, especially in the National League, of the 3 true outcomes. We hit a ton of we went from hitting 0 home runs to a ton of home runs, and that's how our offense got us to a point where we could go to a World Series, and the rotation came up to meet it. But then everybody did it, absolutely everybody, and we were terrible again. It was just this ultimate roller coaster ride.
I think for baseball this year, given where we are, and we carry the Atlanta Braves for all of you out there listening, and, we're real soon, pitchers and catchers. It's right around the corner, and I know you don't want to get bogged down at Super Bowl week, and we've got Florida State basketball, Florida State recruiting, Florida State baseball, a lot of things going on, Florida State softball, a lot of stuff happening right now. But in terms of a quick cursory glance at Major League Baseball for a second.
Preseason #1 in softball.
You're damn right.
That's what you do.
Yeah, but I think the cool storyline for this, for this region, if you will, is frankly, obviously the Braves. But the Rays went 41-25 after the All-Star break last year. They are young, they have emerging talent, and they had a really good offseason. And I dare say, if for some reason Charlie Morton finds form again, who they got, people forget, they've added some pieces: Garcia, Diaz, Morton. The Rays could be really good, and it's easy to forget about them because of the Yankees and the Red Sox, and it's unfortunate for them. They're stuck in that damn division where payrolls are $280 million and they got $5, but they make better decisions. They make great decisions. They shouldn't be a talking point, but they are. And, of course, given that Kevin Cash is the manager, I watched him play here, and, we're Knowles here, and we're excited. I just wish they weren't so overshadowed.
So one of our lead engineers comes into the studio yesterday. He does some work over here, and he sits down in the chair. We're talking shop about, just radio and stuff, and then he hardly ever talks sports, but he's a huge Braves fan. And he sighs. He goes, I would just love to get Kimbrel back. No,
you don't want that version of the Kimbrel we saw at the end of the year. You don't want to pay.
As a sentimental favorite. Oh. Besides, and you bolster the bullpen, but it reminds you that Craig Kimbrel is out there.
You saw the way he struggled at the end of last year. It was laborious. He doesn't have what he once had, and you never overpay for relievers. Ever. Unless they're Mariano Rivera. You do not pay for relievers. Don't do it.
But you're not going to pay what you thought you were, or what clubs thought they were going to have to pay to go get him 2 months ago, 3 months ago. You're going to get him 20% cheaper, and isn't it worth it to take a shot on somebody like that?
I'm not paying for closers, Tom. They're too flighty. You never know what you're going to get.
But you might, I mean.
And he's old.
If every dollar counts for your organization, I agree with you. But there are some out there that are willing to spend and for luxury purposes, not just necessities.
Well, the Twins are going to get him, so that's that.
The Twins are going to get him.
They're linked to him currently. There's
Talk
not
about obscurity, Jesus.
Well, I mean, they picked up Nelson Cruz.
I know, I saw that they did. He's still going, isn't he?
C.J. Cron. Hey, so I would say this, though. That's actually kind of an exciting young Twins team. I mean, Buxton, right? I mean, if he's healthy. Sano and
can they still play infield defense? Because they were breathtaking a couple of years ago when they made it to the wild card.
I like to ponder these things and take these questions out in the beginning of February or even late January. That's what I do this time of year when my teams aren't involved in anything worth a damn. But I do it anyhow, just as a baseball fan. Baseball, we need to see something other than the overabundance and avalanche of strikeouts that we witnessed.
There's just no action.
You can't do it. The game's so beautiful. Put the ball in play. I don't know the answer whether it's John Smoltz' radical ideas or if it's something much tamer. But I like that the conversation has started. And, baseball's had to do this over the years. It's had to have these moments where it reaches critical mass. And whether that is deadening or juicing the ball or whatever it might be, or raising or lowering the mound, or DH, no DH, or whatever it's – they've had these moments where they were at crossroads and they've had to make changes. And it feels a little bit like they're at one of those moments.
Well, there's talk, obviously, in depth about eliminating the shift or how many guys you can have over on one side of the infield. And I think we talked about this on the air. Maybe we didn't. But Stark wrote an article, I think it was, the great debate about would that actually change anything. And there's some thought that you could limit a shift and it still wouldn't change much in approach because launch angle is launch angle.
I agree with that, and that is a current philosophy, and fine, and you're not going to change that. What you've got to do, to me, it's about how many guys can come out of that bullpen. We've specialized baseball to the hilt, and everybody can throw 100. And we gave you the statistics on that last year and the year before. Every year, I love to go to that go-to statistic where we find out how many guys threw a pitch at over 100 miles per hour. And since you and I have been on the air on ESPN Radio, we've watched that number go from 14 in a single season to 200 and something. I mean, it literally has been dramatic.
Well, with Syndergaard, you see it 5-10 times a game. I watch it every time he starts. He'll rear back and it's 101, and you're like, meh. And that used to be something you're like, the gun's broken. That's not real.
You wouldn't believe it. But, I talked to Mike Martin Jr., and he talked about the way kids are learning how to pitch now and how to throw, and how many kids believe their path to the majors is throwing 100 miles per hour. And because it's a bullpen game, they're not wrong.
Well, and they're doing TrackMan analysis like for golf.
That's right.
So you can look for efficiency and angle and all that kind of stuff.
The three sports are having interesting debates. Well, the three sports. It's more than three, obviously, and only avid golfers like myself and you would consider this as part of that bigger conversation. But there are great debates going on right now in football, in baseball, and in golf. And for golf, it's about equipment and the ball and what they should do, because golf courses are closing down. There isn't the same amount of people playing the game because of the cost it takes to play golf, right? So that surge that Tiger brought to the game of people participating, playing the game, getting involved in the game, and wanting to play on a regular basis has died down significantly.
You can tell when the campaign is just play 9. You're like, ooh.
Right.
Guys are hurting, huh?
So as far as the game goes, is fewer golf courses are being built. Many more are closing. And moreover, when you build these golf courses now, the size of the course to make it competitive is outlandish. And so the talk about dialing back the ball, dialing back equipment. But here's the thing. You can't unring the bell, man. They're never going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're going to have to figure out a better way. I think they're going to need
you shrink the fairway. Look at the Ryder Cup.
I think that's the answer. It's just a greater emphasis on being able to do all aspects of the game, but you're not going to dial back equipment.
And you've got no damn excuse because you could hit a 4-iron, and, if it's going to be a standard distance from 10 years ago, let's say the course of 10 years ago is 7,300 yards, which used to be astronomical, but let's say you're playing at 7,150.
Mm-hmm.
You can still hit a 4-iron and get around that track.
Well, they were able to successfully make Phil Mickelson look like an idiot at the Ryder Cup. That course, he couldn't play it. He looked like me trying to play a regular course.
Well, he sounded stupider when it was done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like a petulant child who couldn't play the game he wanted to play, so he was taking his stuff and going home.
He reveals himself all the more.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
The one with all the good football players?
Bowls?
Right.
What are you getting at here, Jeff?
Mo used what to cut his hair?
I don't know, Jeff. What is a bowl?
Boom. A bowl indeed.
Hey, that gives me an idea.
Really?
We should have bowls here at Gordo's. We can do all kinds of bowls. We can do chicken bowls, fish bowls. We can do steak bowls, pork bowls, veggie bowls. Brilliant. I'm a genius. Jeff? Hey, Jeff.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. It's Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
This is Chris Kraft with news that is sure to change the car buying landscape in North Florida. Our brother Peter and I are now the proud new owners of the Infinity dealership in Tallahassee, the all-new Kraft Infinity. As Mercedes-Benz dealers for over 25 years early in our careers, we know how to sell and service Highline vehicles the right way. At Kraft Infinity, our mission statement is simple: to provide our customers with a car buying experience that is unsurpassed in value, consideration for your time, and pure enjoyment. Finally, the Highline experience you deserve, and it's from the Kraft brothers. Infinity is much more than a brand name. It's a lifestyle and it's a statement. And at Kraft Infinity, Peter and I will go beyond your expectations in providing the best sales and service experience in Tallahassee. So come see us at the all-new Kraft Infinity, beyond your expectations, and brought to you by the Kraft brothers. Kraft Infinity, 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast, conveniently located between Home Depot and the I-10 flyover. Call 297-1488 or visit us on the web at craftinfinity.com.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
For the Bloomberg Business of Sports Report, I'm Michael Barr. Gamblers placed about $13 million in wagers on professional sports during the first full month of legalized sports betting in Rhode Island. The Rhode Island Lottery released figures for bets placed at Twin River Casino in Lincoln and Tiverton in December. The casinos paid $12.1 million on winning bets, leaving about $950,000 in revenue. The state gets 51% after commissions and operating expenses are subtracted. Meanwhile, New York State took a huge step toward legalized sports betting. The State Gaming Commission offered initial approval of a set of proposed rules that would allow sports bets at 4 upstate casinos. It won't become official until after a 60-day public comment period, and even then the commission has to adopt the rule. New Jersey has led the way on legalized sports betting, including allowing it in casinos, racetracks, and online wagers. And that is a Bloomberg Business of Sports report. I'm Michael Barr.
As a doctor who provided medical care to remote islands, Dr. Ben Lebreau has seen some things.
Piracy, hurricanes, being struck by lightning.
While most of us can't relate to confrontations with pirates, we get that life and work come with a certain amount of risk. But your retirement shouldn't. Dr. Ben purchased an annuity to secure a guaranteed monthly retirement income for life, so his money won't stop working when he does. Find out if an annuity is right to protect your future at retireyourrisk.org.
Hi, I'm Mike Ditka. On the field, they called me Iron Mike. But some days, even Iron Mike can feel a little rusty, so I turned to Blue Emu. Blue Emu's non-greasy, deep-penetrating formula gets down deep for big-time comfort. And more importantly, it doesn't leave me smelling like a locker room. Now, if you excuse me, I have some yelling to do. You hit like old men! Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Balls McWednesday edition. Online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. Hey, if you do, we got you. All 3 hours posted every day upon the conclusion of the show. Roger Goodell says, after being asked about the call that screwed the Saints, that there would be really nothing he could do about it. And, of course, he's right. I'm not going to replay the game. That's ridiculous. He had his pre-Super Bowl news conference and said the league is considering changes to prevent a similar situation, but that basically the NFC Championship game, it's been played. There's nothing more they can do about it, and that the decision or the non-call was made in error. Yes. Yeah, it was an error. If it is a play that should be called, quote, whenever officiating is part of any kind of discussion post-game, it's never a good outcome for us. We know that. Our clubs know that. I bet you the Saints know that, don't they? He didn't say that. Our officials know that as well. By the way, that official rubbed me the wrong way, not because he missed the call, which obviously he did egregiously, but he was a jerk about it. Refusing aid from the man who clearly saw the missed call and was running over to throw the flag. That video footage of him go, no.
I did not see this video footage.
Oh, my goodness. When we go to break, go watch it.
Oh, boy.
He's an ass. So he misses the call, and I actually, by the way, just to get this out there, as far as that call goes and how, it's missed and all of that and frustration that stems from that, I recognize that there is actually a distinct possibility that in addition to wanting to swallow his whistle and let the players decide the game in such a pivotal moment, that he might have been in a position to where in real time it didn't look nearly as evident to the rest, to him certainly, as it did to the rest of us with the angle we had on television. You and I both know, and so do a lot of people if they stop to think about it, that that's true in general, that if you've ever seen the field footage of what officials are looking at, depending on where that angle is being filmed, you realize there's lots of things that happen in a football game that look obvious to the TV viewing audience that are simply in a precarious spot on the field for an official, and or it happens so quickly that the human eye and the human brain can't detect that.
We need younger eyes and younger brains on the field, first of all. If this is going to be a game played by people, largely speaking, between the ages of 22 and 30.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I just think there's always going to be a ton of human error.
Sure, but you probably need younger people. Why don't we think about it that way? Because older people are more judicious? Well, you still need to cover the field and be able to run all over the damn field for the game.
Well, they just have to make amendments to some of these rules and or accept that that's going to be a big part of it. I think they also have to make this a full-time thing. You have to – I mean, there's billions and billions of dollars on the line here. Let's spend a little money and make sure our officials are year-round workers who are – having drilled into them every aspect of what we're trying to do here.
Or you do the radical thing, which is, again, you put them in like a studio, you put them in the truck or in a press box so that people can see them, and you give them an isolation cam. So every play,
you can see every play,
has every matchup isolated, and that's your job, is to watch that.
Well, and the point I was going to make, while conceding that maybe, just maybe, he was at an angle to where in real time he could just miss the call because it didn't, he just didn't see it clearly. That happens all the time. The fact is that there are other officials on the field that oftentimes come to your aid in that situation, and you are to remove your ego and understand that perhaps we need to have a discussion. Maybe you saw something I simply did not see, and I have to allow for that possibility. Yep. And your best officiating crews do that. They get together in the moment. What'd you see? What'd you see? Here's why I didn't call it. Here's what I thought. But now, Jack, you're at an angle back here. Did he beat him to the ball, or did he get to the spot before he should have? My angle didn't show that. I thought it was bang, bang. I didn't throw the flag. And if you're going to say, I'm sorry, Jeff, I mean, he hits him clearly early, and I am sure of it, you're then going to turn to other officials and say, did you see it that way, guys? Because to me, it is obvious. Mm-hmm. And then they get it right, and you always applaud that. When people are willing to stand down and accept. For years, for example, 4 years in Major League Baseball, you never overruled the home plate umpire for any reason. The head of the crew. His word was the final word. There were so many mistakes made when that was the model, when that was an unwritten rule, when it was just agreed upon that there was a godfather whom you could not step to. And these guys were drunk with power, to be sure. After a while, it was so obvious.
Maybe literally.
After a while, it was so obvious Major League Baseball's had to concede that they had a problem, and then also convince umpires that it's not a sign of weakness. It doesn't mean you're incompetent. It means that ball came in at 98 miles per hour and you might have missed it. Or that's a bang-bang play at second, and I'm not sure you had the greatest angle. Or I think that's fair. We're going to look at the replay and see if that was foul or fair. I mean, it's not, again, a sign of weakness. And they do better at it now. The point is they do a better job now, and they'll concede. They'll say, well, let's look at it. And they'll overturn a call. We've seen calls overturned in baseball. Never would have happened 20 years ago. Never. In football, they routinely get that right, more than we realize. They'll have guys come over. But in that situation, if you go back and look at it, it's crazy. It's nuts. That guy that doesn't throw that flag sees that one of the other officials is coming in to throw the flag and waves him off vehemently. He is furious that somebody is questioning his judgment, and that's not what you want.
Mm-hmm. This is where a hockey rule could help, and hockey typically is pretty good about officiating over the years and how they get stuff done. They got one problem right now, which is the goalie interference call.
Yes, they do.
And if you review a replay and come to a conclusion and you know it's the correct one, you need to pick the opposite, and you'd get it right more often the way that the NHL rules on goalie interference. So that's a big-time issue, but they have a provision in the rule book that allows for linesmen who are not referees who can assess penalties. Linesmen can overrule or interject that there is some egregious missed call, be it about too many men on the ice, a high stick, an elbow high, a dirty play, something along those lines. They can get with the official and say, here's the deal, man. You guys didn't see it, but it's 100% a penalty, and you need to call it on number 22 for whatever the infraction is. What you were talking about coming out of championship weekend is so true. You've got to have somebody in the freaking booth who can buzz down.
It's just not hard.
And who has autonomy to do so.
I just don't understand why sometimes the simplest of explanations or resolutions to problems are so widely ignored or even refused. It's almost as if there's a resistance to change. It's a problem for individuals, societies, people, governments, you name it. I get it, governing bodies. Because a lot of times pride kicks in and there's a sense that you are admitting fault. But that's not what this is about. You want to make the game better. The integrity of the game can't be called into question. Guys are going to make mistakes. As I get older, the more, again, we have been at a lot of these ACC meetings and kickoffs. We've had referee seminars. We've talked to officials. They don't want to make the wrong call. It's not a grand conspiracy. They don't want to be the guy that's on countless replays being talked about as being incompetent. You've got to tell these guys this is not an assault on your manhood or your judgment because you missed a call. These guys are big. They're fast. It's played at lightning quick speed. You're looking at a number of things, and you might miss it.
Yeah, but I don't know the names of any back judges or umpires or side judges or line judges in football. I know the names of all the umpires.
Major League Baseball umpires, and they want you to, too, by the way.
That's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. And listen, if you miss a call and you just plainly miss one, remember Jim Joyce when he missed
that was awesome, and I felt so bad
the perfect game?
He was in tears. He was in tears.
Right. That's what you should be as an umpire. You value getting the call so right that it moves you to weep when you don't get it right.
Screwed a kid out of a perfect game who wasn't even a good pitcher.
But whereas there are a lot of officials in college basketball that do this too. In the NBA, Joey Crawford does it.
I got no time for college basketball officials who want to make sure you see them.
Yeah, Joey Crawford does it in the NBA as well, or I don't know if he's still reffing anymore. But it's I make the call, and my call is the law. And that's the Joe West approach. That's the Angel Hernandez approach to officiating. Those are the villains, not the guy who misses a call because the sport's so fast. Yeah. And if you can get that through your head, and I think more correct calls or more overturns to the right side of whatever the ruling should be would happen.
Yeah, and by the way, Goodell was asked if he considered ordering the game to be replayed, which is a ridiculous call. Or question, I should say. And he said absolutely not. And the league rule book states games can never be overturned because of routine officiating errors. Goodell said the league's competition committee will consider possible changes to instant replay to address those kinds of errors. But he added that in the past, there's been little appetite for a replay official to be able to call penalties on plays where no flag was thrown. And that's where I think that he's living in the past. We have the technology. This was the whole reason for instant replay to begin with, was to make sure the technology aided your endeavor to get it right. I think we overuse it. I think we allow for too many reviews. I think, in fact, replay should be used for the most egregious mistakes, not the finely nuanced, difficult to decide even after 16 replay calls, but rather the ones that are over-the-top obvious.
Well, that's the frustration in college football, is you feel like it's over-reviewed because every play is reviewed. But you got to do something that's visual for people at home and people in the stands. You can't do this nebulous thing where you buzz down and did it buzz before the ball was snapped or not, because then the integrity of whether or not
calls into question.
It's called into question. So I don't know if the field, like there's a LED light around the field that lights up that you can measure, kind of like the shot clock in basketball. I know it sounds kind of funny, but
that red light comes on. Yeah,
the red light. You have to have some sort of empirical evidence, because to me, I think the hybrid approach is correct, where you probably take a few officials off the field, not all of them, maybe 3 or 4. And you put 3 or 4 in the booth, and they're reviewing things on video.
I don't think we need 3 or 4. I think we need 1. I'll go back to this again. I think you or I sitting there, maybe 2.
There's a lot of individual matchups or things that you're looking at. So you can look at the line, you can look at the backfield, you can look at the boundaries.
Well, I want them to review fewer things. So I'm taking a lot of stuff off their plate. I'm going to tell you now, I think that replay ruins the spontaneity of the game, the rhythm of a game. I think if you're going to have review, can we please get back to the original stated goal here, and can we hold their feet to the fire in regards to the time? Because when you recall as well as I do, when instant replay was a thing, they were telling all of us, well, don't worry, it's not going to lengthen the games. You got 1 minute.
It's like 1 minute, and then the communication shuts off, and the booth shuts off.
Play stands. If you can't get it right in a minute, then we just
you
need
didn't
to
pay
move
the
on.
power bill. Lights out. Yeah.
Well, it stands to reason. If I'm watching a replay and I've looked at 6 angles and I can't tell, well, then whatever the dude called on the field, we're done here. We don't need to do this a million times.
But the problem also, from a common sense perspective, is why do I need a dude who's running around and sweating getting into a booth? Before it was the tablets. Why do I need? What if there's glare? So he can't tell if there's definitive.
But that's why they had the cloth there. Remember, you could go back under the.
Oh, but now they got the Surface tablets. It's like they got this little thing here. Yeah, what if his jersey is so bright it's reflecting into the screen? Is that indisputable because my jersey gets in the way? You got to have somebody who's got a macked out TV like we do. If you're going to show us these replays, you got to have the technology that we do.
Well, yeah. We review the most obvious results. That's what I want to get rid of. When something is quite clearly a catch, 2nd and 7, here we go, let's play football.
Yeah.
Man, they will. How many times a game do you see a guy catch a ball, get tackled, is obviously down, or it was obviously a catch, and then for some reason we're going to go back and look at that? Too many is the answer.
Well, I know that it would affect about 10% of the circumstances, but I'm willing to allow, maybe as a concession, saying that you don't need to review any spot of the ball inside the 1 yard lines. It's always at the half-yard line. It's never a touchdown. It's always spotted at the 1 inch line or the half-yard line.
I also find it fascinating that they missed that call more than any other in terms of ball placement.
When the knee hits the ground.
When the knee hits the ground. Now, that's impossible. Nobody's going to get that right.
10% of the time, it actually is a touchdown, but it seemingly always is short of the goal line, isn't it?
I think so, but I also know how many times we don't have down the line views,
which is bull.
Which is that makes no sense. That makes no sense. How long are we going to sit here and talk about this? It's the number one thing that's universally agreed upon. How do we not have a camera right down the line?
This feels like politics and common sense, too. Why do you think we're still talking about it?
Yeah.
Because they want us to still talk about it.
Okay, so now that's what happens. We bring in black helicopter guy like my stepdad, and I'm done. I'm getting up from the dinner table. I'm like, oh, really? So they're out to screw him. They're out to screw him. That's what it was. They wanted to screw Drew Brees and the Saints.
No, they're not out to screw anybody in particular, but they'd rather have people still talking about the game for any reason possible because any publicity is good publicity.
So what, they set it up for the Rams to have a 57-yard chip shot? I mean, they still had to make a lot of plays, and that kid made a kick from 57 yards. You can't know any which play is going to be the play that's going to create that controversy.
But if you throw a book that's 4 inches thick at the referees and say, now legislate all of this in a given moment, then you're putting them in a position to fail, and you know what you're doing. You know what you're empowering them to do. They're going to get a lot wrong.
Merely because they're human, they're going to get a lot wrong. And also, again, I'm for
Think about the catch rule.
I'm for dialing
The first thing they did was they complicated it instead of simplifying it.
Makes no sense. Whatever was a catch in 1974 is a catch now. We're done. That's it.
You know what I saw today?
That is it. You ever seen the touchdown that the Cowboys score against the Broncos in the 78, 79 Super Bowl, whatever that is?
I was not alive, no.
But you've not seen the replays of those Super Bowls?
I have not seen that particular
We're going to do it during the break. It's a catch, and he crosses the goal line, and he gets up, he doesn't have the ball, but because he possessed it as he crossed the goal line, right?
Yeah, okay, that's an immortal highlight.
Yeah,
sure, yeah.
That rule is fine with me. Mm-hmm. It's a catch. We're done here.
Well, what I saw today, oddly enough, is a throwback highlight of Oilers and Steelers, and there was a catch in the back of the end zone. This dude gets 2 feet down. And
they missed it. That's a famous play.
There's never a signal. I think the guy's name was Renfro.
Yeah.
It wasn't spelled the same way as Hunter Renfro from Clemson, but the guy's name was Renfro in the back of the end zone. And he clearly gets 2 feet down. And even in the 70s, they had enough replay, and the booth goes, well, that's a touchdown.
Oh, but it's
2 feet down.
But it's like 4 yards in, too.
Right.
It's famed.
And then there's a convention of all the officials, and then this guy who is adamant of incomplete. I mean, like a college basketball official.
Well, that invites the conspiracy theorists.
In the 70s, you could make more money than they were giving you to do something like that.
That makes sense. Now it wouldn't.
And it was in Pittsburgh.
No, I know the play you're talking about. But Commissioner Cameron's coming in going, listen, if it was a catch in 1977, it's a catch now. That's the catch rule. Now let's go. We're moving on.
The old-timers would love you.
Oh, yes! And you know what? Hold on to the damn ball. If your knee hits the ground, you fumble it,
Times were better in the 70s anyway. In all ways.
Right, ladies?
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Liberty Tax of Tallahassee, the law office of Jose Fernandez, and by Truck and Car Concepts.
Hi, I'm Chris York with Monogram Art. While our name mentions monograms, we are a lot more than that. We offer a full line of corporate apparel to businesses and organizations, and we carry clothing brands such as Cutter & Buck, Nike Golf, Port Authority, and caps from Richardson, Outdoor Cap, Ahead, Yupong, and many more. We have the ability to create custom embroidered apparel that your employees will be proud to wear. So swing by our showroom at 2522 Capitol Circle Northeast or find us online at monogramart.com. Let us help you wear your brand.
You have to be up in 5 hours. 2 hours. 6 minutes, and you haven't slept a wink. ZzzQuil Pure Z's is a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake with no next-day grogginess. So tonight, try new ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil.
Want better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine? Change your oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. You know that sticker on your windshield? Don't look at it now. Wait until the next red light. Okay, check the number on your sticker. Then check your odometer. Is it time? There are 19 Tallahassee area Super Lube locations, which means there's one close to you right now. No appointments, and you're in and out in no time. You could do this today. Super Lube, for better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine.
How I love to Super Lube my car. Yes, sir.
It began with a challenge from the game's greatest players, a mission to solicit speed from every detail of the driver. The new Titleist TS2 and TS3 drivers were born from the pursuit of speed. And now Edwin Watts Golf challenges you to find a faster driver than the new Titleist TS2 or TS3 by participating in the Faster Than Yours Challenge, exclusively at Edwin Watts Golf. For a limited time, test your current driver against the new TS2 and TS3 drivers, and you could win a $200 gift card. Come take the Titleist Challenge today, exclusively at Edwin Watts Golf for a limited time only.
Live life. Head on. Take every shot. And when it comes to tax season, go for the win with Liberty Tax. Because while you do life, we do taxes. Bounce into a Liberty Tax by February 16th and we'll give you $50 cash for filing with us. Send in a friend, and when they complete their return, we'll give you another $50. Stop by today or visit LibertyTax.com. Liberty Tax. You do life, we do taxes.
Located at 2210 North Monroe Street next to Chick-fil-A. Call 597-8248.
Can't we all get along?
Blue Cheer Bay Rum presents Kenny Chesney, Songs for the Saints Tour.
No shit.
Friday, April 26th, Donald L. Tucker Civic Center. With special guests David Lee Murphy and Caroline Jones. Tickets on sale now at TuckerCivicCenter.com. Produced by Messina Touring Group and AEG presents.
But we're all right.
This is Golick and Wingo.
Let me ask you guys this question. If the Lakers pull this deal off before the trade deadline, remember how David Stern got involved in the New Orleans to LA trade for Chris Paul? For Chris Paul. Would there be anywhere the other teams around the league would be like, wait a minute, Anthony Davis left his agent for LeBron's agent. LeBron has already been chastised for saying he'd like to have Anthony Davis on his team. And now, all of a sudden, he's with LeBron's agent, and he says, I want to be traded. I'm not signing this deal. If he were to end up in L.A., do you believe there'd be a little bit of an uproar from some of the other teams saying, hold on, we feel there's some kind of control thing going on here?
I think there would be a certain outcry with that just because it is LeBron and he was so unapologetic in everything that went on.
Again, nothing provable, I would think, but man, there's going to be an uproar.
Golick and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. You're listening to the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Harden scoring streak. None. And it's not even my typical loathing of James Harden. Scored 37 points yesterday against the Pelicans. 24th straight game with 30-plus points. The only player with a longer such streak in NBA history is Wilt Chamberlain. There is something worth exploring. You and I have, because we have a mutual friend, acquaintance that hipped us to it. But I don't want to say that Wilt Chamberlain was underrated, but there's a part of me that says Wilt Chamberlain was underrated.
I would think the degree of difficulty, though, was probably not as high for Wilt to do that. There weren't a whole lot of equals out there.
No, I know. It's just that it was revolutionary. It changed the game and the rules of the game. It's just crazy. Harden finishes the month with a scoring average. Well, this is actually nuts. Harden finished the month scoring or assisting on 62% of Houston's points. Tells me that can't be good for Houston.
Well, I mean, they're waiting on Chris Paul to get back.
I get it. Harden has become the fourth player in NBA history with 600 points, 100 rebounds, 100 assists in a calendar month. He joins Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, and Elgin Baylor. Obviously, that is remarkable. 600 points, 100 rebounds, 100 assists, calendar month, NBA history. To only have that many people do it, it's remarkable. And I would note, highest points per game in a calendar month in NBA history, per our discussion about Wilt Chamberlain. He owns every record there is, save for this one, January 2019, James Harden. In December of 61, Chamberlain averaged 52 points a game. For a month? Good Lord. In 1962, the following year, Wilt Chamberlain in November averaged 52 points a game. In January 1962, Wilt Chamberlain averaged 51.8 points per game. In February 1962, he averaged 50.6 points per game. 62 was a banner year. Took a dip in March of 63, where he averaged 45.8 points per game. In 61, he had a month where he averaged 44 points per game. And in December of 62, minimum of 10 games played, Wilt Chamberlain averaged 43.6 points per game. Only James Harden in January 2019 enters the club at 43.6 points per game.
He's the only modern player to do it. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on when you want to start the modern era, because in 65, Jerry West did it, and Oscar Robertson did it in 62, and we're done here. I mean, that is remarkable, and yet I can't, I agree with those that weigh in and say, I can't stand watching him play and watching them play. It's a guy holding on to the ball forever and a day, able to hit high degree of difficulty threes over and over and over again, and I get that it's sustaining them for now, and I can't knock him because surely they're not telling him to stop, but it just feels a lot like we're watching James Harden, and that's it. We're not watching a team. We're not watching a team versus a team.
I'm not watching any of it, but I am watching the bottom line for every Houston score, and that's what it does. To see, is he continuing? Did he do it again last night? Is he doing it again tonight if I'm up late enough?
Well, he had 7 of his shots blocked last night. 7 shots blocked.
Well, I saw when he went for whatever it was in the Garden. What did he hit, 61? Something like
crazy,
that?
Yeah.
I mean, he took 38 shots, something crazy like that night. I did check out the box score just to see how many shots in the field. He had a ton of free throws.
It's ugly. He's not even aesthetically pleasing to watch play the game like Jordan would go off, or Kobe. Kobe, who was inefficient a lot. You loved watching him play.
Oh,
man.
So smooth, man.
Silky smooth. Crazy smooth.
He looked great on misses, too.
Yeah. There was something aesthetically pleasing about his game. Obviously, Jordan.
It was efficiency of movement. With Harden, it's very mechanical.
Oh, it's so choppy and crappy. It's like he's an accomplished guitarist who doesn't look cool playing the instrument.
He's Daniel Bryan. That's who he is.
No, I'm not going there. You're going to try to get me to bite on the
beard
little guy
for beard.
thing.
That's where you go.
No, but you get that analogy. What I mean is, like, there's a smoothness quality to certain guitar players where it looks effortless to them, and you wanted to emulate them, or drummers where you'd go, oh man, the girls love that. Look at him. He's just smooth. And then other guys, it's all up by their neck, and they have to play it that way because that's how they learn, and they don't know how to play it any other way. It's not dangling down by the knees where they're just kind of, doesn't even look like they're trying hard. Like watching Pete Townsend play guitar is something. It's violent, yet pretty. James Harden's this choppy sort of, but he can play. There's no getting around it. I mean, I'm not going to say he can't play. It's just not pleasing to watch.
I am so in awe of you right now that you have not said the words "in the regular season" to this point in a James Harden discussion.
I'm leaving it alone because everybody knows that I think about that. And then moreover, these are transcendent numbers. Not just good numbers in the regular season, but numbers that are seldom seen in the history of the game. So he's afforded the respect for a month of January that is historically great. I'm not losing sleep trying to watch every second of it. I don't even think it portends of any significant accomplishment in the postseason. In fact, I know it doesn't.
Oh, the dysfunctional Pelicans got him this week. Was it last night? Maybe the night before?
Well, last night is the dysfunctional Pelicans.
That's the seven. That's seven
blocks,
game?
Of course. Yeah. Well, you know who's shooting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. What are we doing?
He's scoring, though.
What are we doing?
He's not likes.
No, he's not 0 for 12, deciding to take another 3.
I'm going to make my next 12. Don't you worry.
Golly. I guess maybe I should be in awe of that kid. Go ahead, take another shot. Yep, not even close again. You guys are down 20, by all means. 17 on the shot clock. Fire up another one, buddy. Go ahead. Jesus. He needs some Andro 400. Tens of thousands of customers choose Andro 400 every month. Melts away stubborn belly fat, increases your energy, improves your libido, increases muscle mass, improves your mood naturally and safely, boosts testosterone with no side effects. Andro 400 is affordable. 90-day money-back guarantee. No questions asked. Here's how you get it. Call 888-510-9336 or go to andro400.com and use the coupon code Jeff for a discount on your order. That is coupon code Jeff, andro400.com.
Jeep, Ram, Fiat. 2019 is here, and we've got to get rid of all the remaining 2018s. And the only way to do that is to offer employee pricing on over 50 Jeep Wranglers in stock. We've never been able to offer such unbelievable prices on Jeep Wranglers, and with over 50 in stock, they all must go. Buy one for as low as $29,900 or save up to $5,600 on in-stock vehicles. The all-new 2019 Ram 1500 is Motor Trend Truck of the Year, and it's breaking all kinds of records. We have over 80 Ram 1500s in stock with up to $11,000 off MSRP. You can't go wrong. Motor Trend Truck of the Year and up to $11,000 off MSRP. It's the deal of the year. There's only one place to go. Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat on the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle. We're right on the corner and always right on the price. Or visit us on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. Dealer retains all rebates and incentives plus tax, tag, and dealer fee.
Time now for your Tampa Bay Lightning Minute, brought to you by Township of Tallahassee.
The Tampa Bay Lightning are back in action tonight as they take on the Pittsburgh Penguins on the road. Pittsburgh enters this game occupying the second wild card in the East. They've got 58 points through 49 games. Of course, Tampa Bay comes in with the best record in the NHL. Tampa Bay has already defeated Pittsburgh once this year. That was a 4-3 win back on November 15th. Nick Alberga from SiriusXM NHL Radio told me recently on Lightning Power Play Live, there aren't many weaknesses with this Lightning team.
I think when you're the best team in hockey, it's tough to win awards, sadly, as weird as it is to say. But all in all, this has to be my number one team going into the Stanley Cup playoffs. And to circle back, I think the key is just to continue on with the consistency and stay healthy. I know it's difficult, but just stay healthy right now for Tampa.
Look for Andrei Vasilevsky to get the start in net tonight for the Lightning. With your Lightning Report, I'm Greg Linnelli.
At Township in Collegetown, for the table, by the people is not just lip service, it's their mantra. Tallahassee's largest beer hall offers drafts served in steins and a unique twist on upscale pub fare. Just walk up and order for the table and grab a seat by the people. Some you may not even know. If you're looking for a more intimate gathering, Township offers The Garden, a unique setting to Tallahassee complete with outdoor fireplace and a retractable awning. Oh, and let's not forget the 32 taps and private bar. Book it for your next party or company event. Township Tallahassee, 619 Woodward Avenue in Collegetown.
O'Reilly.
Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up a 5 1/4-ounce bottle of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner for $3.99. Clean and lubricate your fuel system while increasing miles per gallon with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner for $3.99 at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Plus, earn double O Rewards points on this purchase. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. There ain't no heating and air conditioning, keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
You can now quickly and easily schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. This winter, take advantage of great rebates and 0% financing for 36 months. Learn more online at baranoac.com. Florida license number CAC 057652.
There ain't no heating and air conditioning.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Steve Lennox. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell at his Super Bowl news conference today in Atlanta. One of the main topics, future of replay and the non-call of the NFC Championship game with the Rams and Saints.
Our coaches and clubs have been very resistant, and there has not been support to date about having a replay official or somebody in New York throw a flag when there's no flag. They have not voted for that in the past. It doesn't mean that we won't. It's something that we're going to put to the competition committee, see if there's an answer to that. But the reality is that's been at least an opposition philosophically for many clubs.
ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting today the league is expected to consider a plan that would allow limited coach challenges for incorrect judgment calls. Goodell asked about the Raiders' home for next season, and he said the hope of Mark Davis is to continue to be in the Bay Area for the fans. Saints coach Sean Payton met with the media today, said his anger lasted about 24 hours after the team lost the NFC Championship game. After that period, his reaction has been disappointment. Rob Ryan, who has not coached in the NFL since 2016, has been hired by the Washington Redskins as the team's new inside linebackers coach. Kyrie Irving will miss a Celtics home game tonight against the Hornets. Irving missing his second straight game because of a left hip strain. NBA doubleheader tonight on ESPN television. Game 1, 8 Eastern. Pacers and Wizards in D.C. Jazz Blazers follow in Game 2. Both games available on the ESPN app. According to reports, free agent reliever Greg Holland and the Diamondbacks have agreed to a one-year contract for 2019. Deal worth $3.5 million. Holland would be able to earn another $3.5 million based on 2019 performance bonuses.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hello. I'm looking at recruiting. The fellas on Tuesday were blown away with my recruiting knowledge. They accused me of caring for the first time in a long time, and I said, hold on a second. You have to fail to a great degree for me to take interest in each and every single recruit on the radar. And while Jimbo was failing towards the end, he had enough successes, especially in the world of recruiting, to be afforded the trust level that did not require me, but rather others whose job it is to follow recruiting nonstop, to gather that information. Now, I trust no one. I'll gather it myself.
Hello once again, friends. It's time for What Them Kids Doing.
Look at that jibber jabber Jeff. What's that kid bench? How fast does he run?
Hey, who let you in here?
Look at him. I bet he can bench a lot. What them kids doing, Jeff?
It's been a while. It has been a while since we bothered to break it in. And I don't even have breaking news other than we're after a ton of offensive linemen, and I want all of them.
The breaking news is what them kids are doing in great detail.
Yeah. Well, I brought up the quotes about a brotherhood at Florida State and Ira Henry's comments there, and I talked about the guys that we're after along that offensive front. I know that he is a guy that certainly looks the part, right? You're excited about the way he presents, right?
If you're going to fail with a dude that looks like that rather than somebody who's 6'2" and 260.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you get off the bus looking good. You win the award getting off the bus, right? He's one of those guys. But then I pointed out to you that my man Arthur Williams looks like he could dominate getting off the bus too. And
well, he only had one camp to be an offensive lineman. I mean, imagine if they had switched positions long ago.
He wasn't a good defensive lineman either, Tom. I'm just saying.
Well, he was a starter on this offensive line for several games. I mean, he's a college starter. Power 5.
We have made several big-time moves in our efforts to bring in 6, 7, 8, 9 offensive linemen.
Do I hear 10?
I'll take 12. As many as possible. But I do like that it feels like they've made some strides in that arena. And like you said last hour when I brought this up, when I was talking about offensive linemen, whether it is Kamar Bell or the aforementioned Ira Henry, and then we were talking about transfers and grad transfers and JUCOs and everything else, that, hey, you're throwing bodies at the problem, but it does look like you got a chance to win a tandem, and then you're talking about 7, 8 new offensive linemen here at Florida State,
yeah,
either as high school recruits or JUCO transfers or grad transfers, and there's certainly nothing wrong with throwing 9, 10 guys at the problem.
Well, I mean, it sounds a whole lot better if you get both Bell and Henry. I'll leave Washington out of it for the moment, but if you get those two, you got Lucas already. And
yes, you do.
You've got a grad transfer from Northern Illinois. Maybe you get the kid from Virginia. Then you throw in the guys that we do still have that maybe you can get something out of, like a Landon Dickerson if he's healthy.
Well,
or the 2 red shirts from this past year. And you could see now you're starting to tally up and you're getting towards, 12, 13 options. Okay, I mean, give me 5. I just need 5.
I want Landon Dickerson to be healthy so badly. He's such a good player, and I hate it when guys. Now, look, that's selfish. Obviously, you want him back for the fact that he's good, and I'd like to win games. But I want it badly for him too. There's a kid, by all accounts, that's interesting, cares deeply about being good, about succeeding, preparation, all the things necessary. He's got the requisite skills. He's a little mean when he does play. I mean, he's a guy that could play in the league. He could play in the league, but as a guard. But he's got to get healthy, and obviously that's that's been a big bugaboo. No player wants to get hurt, and it's not for a lack of trying that he is he's incapable of getting on the field, and it's through no fault of his own, and he's doing everything in his power. And I want kids like that rewarded, especially because frankly he can play.
Yeah.
And it's one less guy then that we have to account for moving forward. So if he comes back, and by all accounts he will, and he's at full strength, knock on wood he stays that way, you really only need to upgrade another position or 2 on that front to radically alter what you are on the offensive line.
Right.
Now, again, and we sound like a broken record, you're radically altering butt-ass sorry and turning it into not very good. But not very good would have won you another couple games last year, and not very good with next year's schedule might win you 8, 9 games, which creates the momentum and buzz you need in recruiting moving forward.
Well, also, if Dickerson comes back and he's healthy and he's a guard, if we could please play him at the position he'd excel at, I'd rather put him in a place that he could be really good than a place he'd be okay. Can we have enough options to where we can fill out the tackle positions and allow the kid to be really good in a place, even if it's for 4 games before he gets hurt again? I don't care. Put him in a place he's going to succeed. And then you have other options like a Henry or Lucas or the 2 red shirts. You got Brady Scott perhaps at center. I mean, if you can get that interior built, if you could patch together 3 consecutive places that aren't terrible, be it guard to left tackle, it could be center to left tackle, it could guard to guard with center in the middle. If you can give me one side, one half, or the interior of the line that you can go to on 4th and 1, on 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line, and you feel pretty good about it. Now we can run the ball a little bit, right?
Create balance.
And create the balance that we so desperately need in order to make this whole thing work.
Yeah. I am probably a little bit more optimistic that is going to happen, Tom, than a lot of people are. And I don't say that because I want that to be the case, and I don't say that because of necessarily the names that we have on the list that are considering coming to Florida State, but rather you do know, bare minimum, that you're going to have 3 new offensive linemen starting for you next year. Bare minimum. And this group was so inadequate a year ago that you could not accomplish anything you were trying to accomplish offensively. And this schedule, coupled with those changes on the front, tell me that you're going to have a lot more success than you had a year ago. And to the degree which you're smoke and mirrors or fool's gold, I don't know that it matters, because if ultimately what you're trying to do is create the appearance that things are moving in the right direction so that you can go into homes in that next year and win that recruiting cycle, that can be accomplished with just a modicum of improvement up front.
Yeah, it really is all about that, too, because as good of a player, I think, and you just look at the body types, you see some of the highlights, but then you hear the way people talk about players, and you remember, now that I've been doing this for a long time, comparisons and who kind of sees things early among the recruiting analysts. My point is Nick Cross, he might not be coming here, and it's trending the other way because his parents seem hell-bent on him not coming to Florida State. He loves Florida State, and so it's one of those classic battles, and it looks like the parents might win out. I would be harping on that internally more as a Florida State fan, saying he really does round out this class and make the defensive back class something that's elite versus very good. But it's not about that as much as it is about Bell and Henry and Washington and JUCO transfers and grad transfers. I don't care. If we lose a safety, okay, we'll survive. But we need to hit. We can't go over 2 on these kids but that are Auburn, FSU 50-50s.
No, obviously that's not preferable. I don't know. There's apparently more in the coffers. They really are casting a wide net. They really are attempting to get an awful lot of bodies in here, and they may not all be elite. They may not even be very good. Now, I tend to think Dante Lucas is going to emerge as a real good player. It's just how quickly can he do that? How quickly is he an impact player? But the judgment by which you're an impact player, the bar is lowered, man. Here it's really lowered.
You can't see it. It's so low.
Yeah, exactly. So it's usually overstepping your bounds when you tell somebody he is a huge upgrade as a true freshman at one of the positions on the offensive line. But in this case, there's a chance he is. I don't know that for certain, but there is a chance he is.
There's a chance that you, including a Northern Illinois kid and 4 signees, you could put those 5 out there and they might be better this year. They might be. That's not crazy to talk about. You know why? Because that's how bad our O-line was last year.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice to have tackles playing tackle, guards playing guards, center playing center, kids that have a position playing that position.
There's not a rule against being good at the position either, but I'm just saying.
Baby steps, Tom.
Yeah.
Baby steps. There are no rules against being good. You're correct, but let's just start with not being great, maybe even being below average. That's fine. I'll take below average for this year. It to us will look like, it's like if you're lacking an automobile and somebody gets you an 82 Celica, it's a Porsche to you, baby. You've never had you've got wheels. You're able to do whatever.
At some point I'll get that QX80
from my friends at Infinity, Craft Infinity. And you'll see what real luxury is all about, Tom. But in the interim, you'd take whatever you could get. Yes, we aspire to have Alabama's offensive line, which is the Infinity QX80. Craft Infinity QX80 of offensive lines. But in the interim, while I may drive a QX80 from Infinity and be bathed in luxury on a daily basis, we cannot be that greedy as a collective fan base at this point. We have to accept a used Celica. And I'll take it because it beats jogging.
Does it have 4 wheels?
It does have 4 wheels, and I'm not walking anymore. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
At SeaquartersMarina.com.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, Tallahassee. Thank you for another great year. Tallahassee truly is a Nissan town. Because of that, Nissan has come out swinging in 2019 with January savings like we've never seen before. With up to $5,000 off of 2019 Maximas, Muranos, and Pathfinders. Up to $10,000 off of 2019 Armadas and Titans. You want to save even more? We have a few remaining of most 2018 models that will save you up to an additional $2,500. But wait, it gets better. With our Nissan Zero and Savings event, Kraft Nissan has 0% interest on 14 models, plus 0 down and 0 payments until after April tax day. And our hottest models, the all-new 2019 Altima and the 2019 Rogue, starting at just $21,900. And the all-new Nissan Kick starts at only $18,800 with available 1.9 interest for 60 months. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Prices include dealer preparation charge, interest rates with approved credit.
Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up a 5 1/4 ounce bottle of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner for $3.99. Clean and lubricate your fuel system while increasing miles per gallon with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner for $3.99 at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Plus, earn double O Rewards points on this purchase. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At Township and College Town, for the table, by the people is not just lip service, it's their mantra. Tallahassee's largest beer hall offers draft served in steins and a unique twist on upscale pub fare. Just walk up and order for the table and grab a seat by the people. Some you may not even know. If you're looking for a more intimate gathering, Township offers the Garden, a unique setting to Tallahassee complete with outdoor fireplace and a retractable awning. Oh, and let's not forget the 32 taps and private bar. Book it for your next party or company event. Township Tallahassee, 619 Woodward Avenue in Collegetown.
Want better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine? Change your oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. You know that sticker on your windshield? Don't look at it now. Wait until the next red light. Okay, check the number on your sticker. Then check your odometer. Is it time? There are 19 Tallahassee area Super Lube locations, which means there's one close to you right now. No appointments, and you're in and out in no time. You could do this today. Super Lube, for better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine.
How I love to Super Lube my car. Yes, sir.
Wilson extends the hands he has. Wilson, quick throw. And it's intercepted! Intercepted by Malcolm Butler! Butler has it at the 1! Malcolm Butler stepped in front of the throw! No way!
For the first time, Tallahassee's Sports Monster is your home for the biggest game of the year.
Zero's on the clock. It's over. The Eagles have beaten the New England Patriots.
Super Bowl 53 is on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Westwood One's presentation of Super Bowl 53, brought to you locally by Tasty Pastry and by Whitton Glass. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Have you picked a side yet? Real short segment. In a moment, I, of course, have to tell you guys about MyPillow, mypillow.com, promo code 979ESPN. But in the interim, you picked a side yet? You going to wager with me? What are we going to do here?
Well,
Super Bowl champion is?
We may have to look at a prop or something.
Yep.
But New England is still holding fast at 2.5.
I'm fine with that. I'm giving it all day long.
All right.
I'm going to bet $10,000 on the Patriots. I'm not going to bet $10,000 on the Patriots, kids. Don't bet $10,000 on the Patriots or the Rams for that matter. Don't bet $10,000.
So Lebitard, speaking of money, where they're running the numbers, and Anthony Davis got fined $50,000 for his agent going public and demanding a trade.
Yeah, all those guys tamper now.
So that is the equivalent, given his salary, to a $78 fine to somebody who makes $40,000 a year. Just to put it in perspective, $78 equals $50,000 in his world.
That's a pretty amazing world to live in.
I'm sure it's more with taxes, but yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably $110.
All those guys do it now. They're just blatant about it. It's the league's got an interesting problem. I like players having power. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy that, they should abide by this. No. I just like teams to be able to be built organically, and I don't want super teams at 3 or 4 major markets, and that's it, because the rest of the league is playing for what reason other than to be a farm team for all those teams?
Hey, man, the country's an oligarchy, so that's what they want too.
Yeah. I like franchises to be rewarded for drafting the right guys. Now,
for losing a lot and falling into the pick, or drafting the right guys?
No, drafting the right guys, assessing and drafting the right guys, and then being able to build around them. Now, in fairness, they did have 5 good years, and if the Cousins thing hadn't happened, maybe something special could have happened. I don't know.
That would have been a really fun team to watch.
That would have been.
They would have been a wrench in that whole machine.
I agree. That would have been a lot of fun. MyPillow.com, promo code 979ESPN. And, by the way, here's why you want to do it. The 4-pack special is still going on. Extended money-back guarantee all the way through the end of March. Plus, they offer free shipping. So free shipping, you get 4 pillows. You get 2 MyPillows, 2 Go Anywhere pillows to boot, shipped free to your house. You can wash them. You can dry them. They don't lose their shape. You fall asleep faster, sleep more comfortably, snore less. Pretty good deal there, man. And I like MyPillow. Sleep on it every single night. Get yours now, MyPillow.com, promo code 979ESPN. Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with it.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Just adds flavor that makes you go, wow. It is just absolutely amazing.
It's not just a mushroom Swiss burger, it's a Whataburger mushroom Swiss burger. Here for a limited time.
For the Bloomberg Business of Sports Report, I'm Michael Barr. Gamblers placed about $13 million in wagers on professional sports during the first full month of legalized sports betting in Rhode Island. The Rhode Island Lottery released figures for bets placed at Twin River Casino in Lincoln and Tiverton in December. The casinos paid $12.1 million on winning bets, leaving about $950,000 in revenue. The state gets 51% after commissions and operating expenses are subtracted. Meanwhile, New York State took a huge step toward legalized sports betting. The State Gaming Commission offered initial approval of a set of proposed rules that would allow sports bets at 4 upstate casinos. It won't become official until after a 60-day public comment period, and even then the commission has to adopt the rule. New Jersey has led the way on legalized sports betting, including allowing it in casinos, racetracks, and online wagers. And that is a Bloomberg Business of Sports report. I'm Michael Barr.
As a doctor who provided medical care to remote islands, Dr. Ben LeBreau has seen some things.
Piracy, hurricanes, being struck by lightning.
While most of us can't relate to confrontations with pirates, we get that life and work come with a certain amount of risk. But your retirement shouldn't. Dr. Ben purchased an annuity to secure a guaranteed monthly retirement income for life, so his money won't stop working when he does. Find out if an annuity is right to protect your future at retireyourrisk.org.
Hi, I'm Mike Ditka. On the field, they called me Iron Mike. But some days, even Iron Mike can feel a little rusty, so I turned to Blue Emu. Blue Emu's non-greasy, deep-penetrating formula gets down deep for big-time comfort. And more importantly, it doesn't leave me smelling like a locker room. Now, if you excuse me, I have some yelling to do. You hit like old men. Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink.
O'Reilly.
Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up a 5 1/4-ounce bottle of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner for $3.99. Clean and lubricate your fuel system while increasing miles per gallon with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner for $3.99 at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Plus, earn double O Rewards points on this purchase. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Steve Lennox. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell at his Super Bowl news conference today in Atlanta. One of the main topics, future of replay and the non-call of the NFC Championship game with the Rams and Saints.
Our coaches and clubs have been very resistant, and there has not been support to date about having a replay official or somebody in New York throw a flag when there's no flag. They have not voted for that in the past. It doesn't mean that we won't. It's something that we're going to put to the competition committee, see if there's an answer to that. But the reality is that's been at least an opposition philosophically for many clubs.
ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting today the league is expected to consider a plan that would allow limited coach challenges for incorrect judgment calls. Goodell asked about the Raiders' home for next season, and he said the hope of Mark Davis is to continue to be in the Bay Area for the fans. Saints coach Sean Payton met with the media today, said his anger lasted about 24 hours after the team lost the NFC Championship game. After that period, his reaction has been disappointment. Rob Ryan, who has not coached in the NFL since 2016, has been hired by the Washington Redskins as the team's new inside linebackers coach. Kyrie Irving will miss a Celtics home game tonight against the Hornets. Irving missing his second straight game because of a left hip strain. NBA doubleheader tonight on ESPN television. Game 1, 8 Eastern. Pacers and Wizards in D.C. Jazz Blazers follow in Game 2. Both games available on the ESPN app. According to reports, free agent reliever Greg Holland and the Diamondbacks have agreed to a one-year contract for 2019. Deal worth $3.5 million. Holland would be able to earn another $3.5 million based on 2019 performance bonuses.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. A fine Ballsmic Wednesday to you and yours. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We are online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always, don't miss anything. Hey, if you do miss something, be all right. We post all 3 hours upon the show's conclusion, both the iTunes and our own audio vault. You can email us if you want. It's jcs@979espnradio.com. Don't forget to use the free WTSM app for your mobile devices. You can watch us on YouTube if you like. Hello, YouTube. And on Periscope via Twitter. It's at 979 ESPN Radio on Twitter. There you can Periscope the program. All right, so we get geared up now. We turn the corner towards the Super Bowl, and there are, golly, any more, an infinite number of stats. By the way, have you joined in with this growing group now that rather enjoys Brady's embrace of the disdain and hatred that is thrown his way, the vitriol that is thrown his way because of the incredible consistency that the Patriots and Bill Belichick and that organization have shown? I think it's kind of smart on his part. He's embraced it and thought it was downright funny and used it.
I think that it's a good thing because they were already doing it behind the scenes.
Yeah, now they're just out front with it, right?
Well, think about it. Everybody always talked about it, especially one of those fever pitch moments for them was the Monday Night Football game down in Kansas City when everybody thought this is the moment that everybody knows that Tom Brady is over the hill, and they come back from that. Or the injuries or suspensions or scandals, whatever it is. But Teddy Bruschi and people like him who are dialed into the Patriot way and the Patriots organization would always say, oh, well, they use this as motivation. Like no other team, they use slights as motivation. They're just sharing it with the world now, so I'm good with that.
No other team, well, how about this? If you win a lot of hatred is, of course, going to be thrown your way, always. And every team will utilize that hatred to their benefit, or at least use it as a rallying cry in some capacity and talk about elements of that criticism that really the vast majority of sports fans don't share. We roll our eyes at it, but all of these guys at the highest level that sustain that Hall of Fame play do so by creating monsters where there are none, creating hate, dislike, slight, whatever it might be, criticism, where there isn't any. That's across the board, whether it was MJ in basketball, whether you see a college team that's won 3 of the last however many conference titles, say after they win the 4th, well, nobody thought we could do it again. Yeah, everybody kind of did. This is typical. So I don't fault them because some people roll their eyes when they hear him say things like, we're still here, and they get mad about that. That's creating whatever you need to create to be motivated. I think it's funny when he does it now.
What would most people do after they won something, a big award or they got a big payday? They might relax a little bit. But you have to be wired differently in just the way you play the sport.
Completely differently to be able to continue to do it. And it's never going to rub people the right way because most of the time, off the playing field, it's a personality trait that makes you antisocial. Not fun to be around. We've all been around the uber competitive person, and then we've been around the guy that takes it to another level. There's nothing wrong with being competitive. You want to foster that in your kids to some extent, whether that's in life or on the sporting fields or whatever it might be, in the office, in the classroom. But then there's that line that is crossed where it means it is the be-all, end-all in your life, and there is no room for nuance, and that's not good, and that doesn't make you a lot of fun to be around. Of course, you're not exactly a great conversationalist at that point.
But I think that's the great debate in Tampa about Jameis and Jameis' demeanor, game day demeanor, and what he's trying to be.
It's changing now, though.
That's what I'm saying. But it's been a long debate about, do you need a rah-rah guy? And that's the questions they'll ask him, and he'll say, no, you need to be different for different players. But you can even see, even when it comes to just how he manages down to down, he's a different guy than he used to be, and he's trying to find that right balance. Brady has it. He's always had it, I think, probably coming out of college because he wasn't good enough. He was never good enough.
Yeah, that chip on his shoulder, yeah.
Sure. One of the great examples, it's obscure for some here in town, but Marty St. Louis in Tampa. That's a guy who was 5'6", 5'7", if he's lucky, right?
Biggest legs you've ever seen, but yes.
But nobody gave him the chance, and he was a superstar in college. He's saying, what more do I have to do to get some run here? And then once he has the opportunity, he doesn't become a nice guy overnight. He's still somebody you can't even deal with him for 5 minutes alone in a conversation because he's maniacal. He has to find the next enemy to go slay. It's what made him great, but it's what makes him a bad conversationalist. Same kind of thing here.
Yeah, you don't want to. It's funny because the guys that you idolize are the ones that can turn it on and off. But it's very rare to find the guys that are transcendent players, all-time great players that can. They do exist, and they're the ones that are beloved most of the time. I don't think, here's the thing. There's not a lot to hate about Tom Brady. He's a little pompous, arrogant. Name a world-class athlete that has achieved as much as he has or something close to it that isn't.
No, I think Peyton Manning is infinitely more hateable than Tom Brady. And I'm not saying I do. He's always out there. He's out doing everything. He's stumping for every company that'll give him $10. And you're like, all right, man, enough. With Brady, he's more of the white-collar angle. You could tell he's trying to play behind the scenes like Mr. Kraft, who is clearly somebody who has influenced him greatly.
Well, I just think we tire of somebody's presence no matter if we at some time love them or not. If they win this much, you can't win. Unless you're a Patriots fan, you're done with Tom Brady. Because you've seen his ass in all of these moments that you would, at some point prefer to see somebody else's. I mean, we're tired of that same face. But there's no getting around the greatness.
No, I think he's more authentic, though. That's why it's easier to rally around him, except for the hairpiece, of course. But I do find, like, his demeanor in the game, I mean, he seems to be like Michael Jordan in that sense, where you're just like, man, this guy every practice, every rep. This guy must be shouting down people. Whereas, like Peyton Manning, when the cameras come on, he's like Mr. Aw Shucks. And you know that's not true. You hear days back to or stories back to his Tennessee days, and not the scandal part.
Mm-hmm.
But like he'd lock the door, so another quarterback would be late to a meeting. Like anything to gain an edge on somebody else. That's not the same guy that's selling insurance to me, on a commercial. So I feel like there's a disingenuous thing with Manning, whereas a player like a Phillip Rivers or a Tom Brady, they are just like, they're crazy. They're over the edge, and that's truly who they are.
Well, I want my quarterback certainly to care as much as I do, if not a lot more, since he touches the ball on every play. And I want him to feel whatever it is he needs to feel in order for him to be at his best and motivated in the offseason and obviously in game. And as long as you're not, a jerk to people off the field or a criminal or something like that, there's just really, I think the truth of the matter is you need that guy, especially at that position. And if he's on your team, you love him. And if he's not, you hate him because he's kicking your ass. And that's just, they're the easiest one to dissect. It's any great team that has sustained greatness for that amount of time, is going to rub people the wrong way eventually. And the Patriots have for a real long time. And then they got embroiled in those controversies to boot. Now, I, for one, never thought Deflategate was a thing. It's not a thing. It's not why they won. It's not, I don't even think it's cheating. I don't think there was anything to it. I think it was the dumbest non-story to ever get blown into a court case eventually. Mm-hmm. I mean, all of that was dumb. If you wanted to hyper-focus on something to the point of ad nauseum, you should have been looking long and hard at what Bill Belichick did in looking at tape of practice. That is stealing film, stealing tape. That is over-the-top cheating. Call it what it is. That is cheating. What he did when that happened was get busted for cheating. What Brady did, stop it.
Yeah, we have Brad Johnson on the air talking about how
he did it too.
He and Gannon
both did it
on the eve of the Super Bowl in the calendar year 2003.
Quarterbacks do it all the time. That was all known. Everybody knew that was nonsense.
The one thing you could, if you're looking for something for Brady, is his tirades on the sidelines, dressing down and disrespecting and big timing his assistant coaches.
It's not a good look, but I don't,
If a lesser quarterback or maybe somebody who had a different complexion did it, their conversation would be a little bit different.
You could certainly bring in the element of the way it's talked about in the aftermath if a black quarterback does that as opposed to a white quarterback. And I agree the masses would respond to that differently, oftentimes in a racist way.
Well, but I think a lesser quarterback too. It's not. I
but
think
that's
two
okay because you know what? If you're a lesser quarterback, don't do that. You haven't earned that. If you're an 8-time Super Bowl champion, you get a little pass. You get a bit of a leeway. It's the Jimmy Johnson approach. I mean, I always appreciated that about Jimmy Johnson. He straight up said, yes, I treat Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, and Emmitt Smith different than I do the other players on this team. They're more important than those other players. Okay. That's refreshing.
That's transparent.
That's transparent, and it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I am going to treat Troy Aikman's 5 minutes late to a meeting. Your third-string safety, who's a special teams guy if he's lucky, when he's not on the practice squad, is late to that same meeting. Sorry. There's a difference in the way you're going to handle that. There is. And I understand that, and I always appreciated that. And it's okay. We're not naive. The better you are, the more special you're treated. And the more you get away with, and the rules don't apply as much to you. Now, obviously, there's a line that you can't cross and all of that, and you're trying to create culture, and I get all of that. But yeah,
I'm evaluating Tom Brady as you're talking about, the borderline player versus the star player. I don't know, man. I did forget for a moment about his magazine article about how he's basically got it's almost like Charlie Sheen talking about his blood, how it's like pure and the alkalinity and the pliability.
That makes him ignorant as to exercise physiology and perhaps how the body works, but I don't think that makes him. I mean, it's laughable. It's we can point at him and scoff.
But you combine that with the stories of last year's long-form article about how there's, this implicit or implied, I should say, pressure to work with Tom's trainers and do things Tom's way with his witch doctors that he has at his beck and call.
Listen, if you're pushing pseudoscience, I'm going to tell you to go to hell, and I'm going to laugh at you, and that's fine, okay? Gotcha. But I'm talking about in the way that he's perceived by the masses as far as his overall image and his career. He's more chided for having won too much than anything else.
Yes.
And it's because he is hyper competitive in an annoying way, but it's the very thing you want from your starting quarterback. It's just that he's not our starting quarterback or all the other people who collectively hate him. That's really what it is. Nobody's walking around. When you get that famous, somebody's going to write an article to tear you down. And none of us are perfect, and all of us have said and done dumb things. And if at some point you succeed to a place where society has decided we've had enough, they're coming for you. They're going to find the thing that they can write about to make you look like a fool. It's been done with LeBron. It's been done with Michael. It's been done with Brady. It's been done with every great champion. They will find something. Your business dealings, a bad relationship. You can always find a girlfriend to say something negative about a guy after a bitter breakup.
Yeah.
You can always, maybe you mishandled your taxes 17 years earlier. You'll find something about a guy. And I think that's what's happened by and large to New England with Brady and really the organization. Now, have they not said dumb things? They have. Have they not had moments in which they misstep? Yes, I think the most egregious of that is the Bill Belichick cheating scandal with the videos.
Yeah. I don't really hate Tom Brady, but I wouldn't be surprised, a separate topic, I wouldn't be surprised if he played poorly or below average on Sunday. He looks like he's leaking oil a little bit. And if he had just a routine amount of pressure, and that's the thing. That's the thing. He does a great job of getting the ball out of his hands early. But if it's an equal fight, I mean, you could easily find 2 or 3 ways that he loses the game for him against Kansas City. It's just that Mahomes didn't make a couple of plays on his own end, too. I mean, Tom Brady being capable of throwing an interception inside the 5-yard line, that's unfathomable.
Except that Roethlisberger just did it, too, at the end of the year. And
he's not Brady?
No, but he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. These guys, he's not infallible. This is
There were pick six against Atlanta.
There are not, certainly. I mean, look, that's the very thing that allowed the Saints to win the Super Bowl against Peyton Manning and the Colts. I mean, these guys aren't perfect. I mean, that's the thing. Your best quarterbacks, it's a team game. Football is the ultimate team game. That's a poor call down there, and it's a poor execution of that call. But there are a lot of things that lead to that, right? That decision is abysmal. What are you doing? And
it's his decision before the snap, no matter what the call is, though.
It is, and he made a mistake, and they were able to overcome it. Because
he's still going to be the greatest and all that stuff. I'm just saying, for this game, this isn't Tom Brady of 5-6 years ago.
No, and don't get me wrong.
He's still really, really good.
I'm not sitting around feeling sorry for Brady. Listen, I'm damn tired of the Patriots. I'm damn tired of Tom Brady. I've been making fun of that wig on his head for 15 years. I mean, there are plenty of things. There's a lot of ammunition where you kind of roll your eyes. But there's a difference between rolling your eyes, tired of the success, noting how pompous, whatever else that he may be, and then also allowing for the fact that that's all superficial stuff. There's not a significant character flaw that we know of. If it comes out that, like Marvin Harrison, he's a criminal of epic proportions, then okay. But in the interim, we don't know that. We just know that he's uber successful, and we're damn tired of it.
The Patriots don't fire me up the way like the Steelers do, and the Patriots have been so much more successful than the Steelers in the last 20 years. And the Steelers have been really successful in the last 20 years. But it's like not like the Bulls in the 90s. It's probably a function of being a Knicks fan. But
yeah, I didn't hate the Bulls of the 90s. I got tired of them, just like I'm tired of the Patriots, and I'm tired of any team that wins and wins and wins and wins and wins unless it's mine.
Like I'm more, I get more angry at Seattle than I do New England because they have 3 or 4 wins where you're like, how? This is so lucky. And it's
that Green Bay win was insane. Yeah, that was the one with the onsides and everything else. Yeah,
they paid for it though. They paid. That was the same playoff run where they end up losing.
I don't. At our age, is there any team? There is if they're represented by a guy who's a known, a horrible human being, like somebody that is affirmed. Like, that guy once killed a man in an alley and is now the top whatever. I'm just like, I'm trying to think of over-the-top examples. But so, for example, okay, here's a good one. You're right to continue to point out, while he's being lauded as a magnificent player, that Tyreek Hill punched his pregnant girlfriend in the face.
Choked her, too. Yeah.
Okay. You're right to point that out. That makes him a despicable, abhorrent human being. And so when he has a 90-yard touchdown catch, and the story on Monday is always how dynamic and explosive and what a difference maker he is on the field.
He really doesn't make many headlines for that. That's really not mentioned that much anymore, is it?
Right.
Compared to some other storylines.
Well, he's not a quarterback for starters, and
Yeah.
the Chiefs haven't won anything. But the point would be, you know, whenever it comes up what a dynamic player he is, you'll go, and if you need him to punch your pregnant girlfriend, he'll do it. You take your shots at a guy you know to be despicable because that's not a
Because he's guilty of it,
because
too.
he's
That's
guilty, and it's not a disputed fact. And okay, you're not saying he doesn't deserve the right to work. You're saying I don't have to like him. And I'm certainly not going to be a part of this rah-rah.
Adrian Peterson, dude.
Exactly.
Piece of crap.
Piece of crap. You beat your 4-year-old child with a switch across the genitals. I'm done with you for life.
And then you're talking about beating him with a belt this year.
For life. I'm done with you. We're done. You're insane. You're abusive. You should be in prison. Got it, okay? But when it comes to these guys, the guys that are just annoying personality-wise or pompous or what, you got to acknowledge that's a separate category altogether. We're just talking about a guy that wins too damn much and is, I don't know.
I still hated Jake Delhomme. And he didn't even win that much, but he had some moments there.
He didn't win a lot, no.
But he had that little.
He had a marvelous run to the Super Bowl and played great in that Super Bowl, which is you were talking about smoke and mirrors. Where did that come from?
Freaking guy.
Not a criminal.
Not a criminal, but
Just
I still was
annoying.
like, you got to be kidding me. This friggin' guy.
Well, we all have our irrational hatreds. I mean,
Chris likes.
I don't think about him. He's insignificant, Tom.
He got some run yesterday on headlines.
Well, yes, he did. But I'm saying, I'm more annoyed at the announcers.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, when you're really young, you have irrational hatreds. Boomer Esiason, I hated in a way that I can't.
Really?
I still.
You still do.
He's the worst.
That's where it comes from. Your youth.
I can't. Boomer Esiason, sweet Jesus. MyPillow.com, promo code 979ESPN. Make sure you go to MyPillow.com. Get you the 4-pack special. I'm sure there's somebody out there. There are lots of people
Emmett
out there.
Smith, man. Emmett Smith.
Really?
Well, because I grew up watching
Emmett
Barry
Smith?
Sanders twice a year, and I'm like, that guy's so much better than this guy.
Oh, but Emmett's not a bad guy. He's not,
He's not a broadcaster.
No, but he's not a bad human being.
Just, it was the Cowboys. It was all.
Oh,
he just won after the
A lot of people
other.
feel that way about the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's that winning thing again.
I know, but I kind of like the Cowboys the last 10 years, like the Romo ones. I always rooted for them.
4-pack special. Money back guarantee all the way through the end of March. Wash it, dry it, comfortable as all hell, and you use my promo code, you get 4 of those bad boys right now.
Did you like T.O.?
No.
I love T.O.
No, I didn't like T.O. Because he was inconsistent with his nonsense. He was a great player. And I wasn't over the top in my hatred the way that some people were. I think we know. But I tired of him. After a while, it became all
He dropped
about him.
a lot of passes, but I mean,
He also spent a lot of time criticizing people who cared just as deeply as he did about winning games. You don't do that. Don't roll teammates who aren't bad guys. And he did that a lot. I got no time for that. Now, the theatrics and stuff on the field, I didn't care about that. That never bothered me. That never bothers me anyhow. It bothers a lot of people. It doesn't bother me. Promo code 979ESPN, 4-pack special, MyPillow.com.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
This is Chris Kraft with news that is sure to change the car buying landscape in North Florida. My brother Peter and I are now the proud new owners of the Infiniti dealership in Tallahassee, the all-new Kraft Infiniti. As Mercedes-Benz dealers for over 25 years early in our careers, we know how to sell and service Highline vehicles the right way. At Kraft Infiniti, our mission statement is simple: to provide our customers with a car buying experience that is unsurpassed in value, consideration for your time, and pure enjoyment. Finally, the Highline experience you deserve, and it's from the Kraft Brothers. Infinity is much more than a brand name. It's a lifestyle and it's a statement. And at Kraft Infinity, Peter and I will go beyond your expectations in providing the best sales and service experience in Tallahassee. So come see us at the all-new Kraft Infinity, beyond your expectations, and brought to you by the Kraft Brothers. Kraft Infinity, 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast, conveniently located between Home Depot and the I-10 flyover. Call 297-1488 or visit us on the web at craftinfinity.com.
Dust off your cleats. It's time again to hit the field. The registration deadline for the City of Tallahassee Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Affairs Department's Spring Adult and Youth Sports Leagues is quickly approaching. Youth 4 to 18 can participate in softball and baseball, and adults 18 years of age and older can sign up a team to participate in softball and flag football. Spots are limited, so be sure to sign up before February 6th to guarantee your spot and to avoid penalties. Visit talgov.com today to see how you or your child can join in on the fun.
It's the little things, like a perfect barbecue. Who wants cheese? Or finding the hottest deals in town at Goody's lowest prices of the season sale. Friday through Sunday, get a whopping 65% off women's and kids' sandals, Carter's apparel, and women's styles from Hannah and Rebecca Malone. We've got more doorbusters too, including 70% off home decor. It's our lowest prices of the season sale. Don't miss it. Fresh styles, big savings, and fun perks every day. Goody's. Little things mean everything. Goody's is part of our Stage family. Offer exclusions apply.
Even in my own home, I had my own designated space to smoke. If I think about it, it really was like I was punishing myself. A friend of mine said, why wouldn't you just try the Juul? And so I went out and I bought one. The idea of going back to smoking, I couldn't even imagine doing that. I don't think anyone, including myself, thought that I could switch.
Carolyn made the switch October 2016. Make the switch at JUUL.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
Recently, I've seen a lot of commercials from attorneys and public adjusters trying to cash in on the hurricane damages to your home or business. Using these individuals could result in a reduction in your insurance claim reimbursement. As a licensed roofing and general contractor, we know how to navigate insurance claims so that you don't have to share your reimbursement with an attorney or a public adjuster. If you have questions, give us a call. Our advice is free. Turning your claim over to an attorney or a public adjuster is not.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shop's work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
License number MP46050.
Hey, Seminole fans, the weather's still chilly, but the prices are hot, hot, hot during the winter clearance event happening now at Garnet & Gold. For a limited time only, take an unbelievable 40% off regular priced Florida State outerwear, including jackets, sweats, and long sleeve tees. And take an additional 30% off all clearance items. Save big time during the winter clearance event on now at all 3 Garnet & Gold locations, West Pensacola Street, Killarn, and our flagship store on Governor Square Boulevard. If you're a Seminole, we're your store. Shop local and go Noles.
Wilson extends the hands. He has it. Wilson, quick throw. And it's intercepted. Intercepted by Malcolm Butler. Butler has it at the 1. Malcolm Butler stepping in front of the throw.
For the first time, Tallahassee's Sports Monster is your home for the biggest game of the year.
Zeros on the clock. It's over. The Eagles have beaten the New England Patriots.
Super Bowl 53 is on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Westwood One's presentation of Super Bowl 53, brought to you locally by Liberty Tax of Tallahassee, the law office of Jose Fernandez, and by Truck and Car Concepts. You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Gabbard Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. You know who doesn't hate Tom Brady? The 468 players that have played at least one game with the Patriots that went on to win a Super Bowl because of him.
468.
Oh, it's a lot of guys thanking Tom Brady for a Super Bowl ring, buddy. You know there are like a handful of those guys that literally didn't play a snap. Didn't get in a game, did nothing. Nothing. Contributed in no way. Wearing that ring at the corner of the bar. I mean, you got to be good enough to be there. I'll get you that.
They showed up every single day.
That's
and
right.
They did their job.
And, to sit their ass. That's what they did. Oh, the best job in all of it. 208 players have played in a Super Bowl with the Patriots. That means 44% of the people who have played for the Patriots since Brady made the team, since Brady made his first start, also got to play in a Super Bowl.
I'll bet if they were 5'9", 180 pounds and Caucasian, though, they made the field. Just to guess.
No, but then they were prolific.
Yeah, they might have.
I was going to say the difference is they were prolific.
They caught 47 passes.
I'm just telling you.
600 yards.
They weren't inept. Ever since Belichick was down at that game against Miami and they were losing, he's like, that little white boy is killing us. Give him to me. I want him and anybody that's like him. And they've
got
had
him
one ever
for like
since.
whatever, a fourth or a fifth.
Yeah,
something stupid.
6 different players have served as backup quarterback for Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. None have ever gotten in the game, so they all have rings. Brady's most frequent comparison to the Super Bowl kicker, Stephen Gostkowski, who will be playing in his 6th Super Bowl. Yeah, that's the thing that gets overlooked, is that they went from the greatest kicker of all time, decided to move on, and they get this SOB, who's really freaking good.
Which is what Belichick was hoping was going to be the case at quarterback. With Garoppolo.
Yeah, Brady said, no, I will not let it happen.
Your legacy is tied to mine, sir. You don't get your own legacy except for that Cleveland experiment and Parcells.
Devin McCourty, Patrick Chung, Matt Slater are all expected to play in their 5th Super Bowl this Sunday. Gostkowski, 5 entering Sunday. Teddy Bruschi had 5. Matt Light had 5. They all played in at least 5 Super Bowls with the Patriots.
Matt Light. Remember him?
I do.
Turnstile. Didn't matter.
Nope. 36 different players have caught a pass from Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. 13 different players have caught a touchdown pass from Brady in the Super Bowl.
That'd be a fun game to list out all 36, see how many you can name.
Well, actually, the sidebar talk and cool bets and the like have been, how many statistics are going to be noted about Tom Brady's time in the Super Bowl that will remain as permanent records and or fun trivia questions? I mean, I think I saw that he is in the Super Bowl record book now 17 times. Whether it's like yards, attempts, appearance, all these different minutes, all that stuff.
Yeah, unless they drop the salary cap and go back to the old days, you really got no chance.
It's insane. Dude's there again.
I know. By the time he's done, he's going to play in a full regular season's worth of Super Bowls. You look at a 16-game picture of Super Bowls.
The most impressive part of all of this, and this is less about him right now, it's just about that organization and what they've created, and it's annoying to say it. This is in a this is in a salary cap era where you cannot bogart all the talent, where you can't have the best of the best because you have a billionaire owner.
As underscored by the first number you said.
468 players.
There it is.
It's bizarre. Chef Gabbard Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Can't we all get along?
Blue Cheer Bay Rum presents Kenny Chesney, Songs for the Saints Tour. Friday, April 26th, Donald L. Tucker Civic Center. with special guests David Lee Murphy and Caroline Jones. Tickets on sale now at TuckerCivicCenter.com. Produced by Messina Touring Group and AEG presents.
Dust off your cleats. It's time again to hit the field. The registration deadline for the City of Tallahassee Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Affairs Department's Spring Adult and Youth Sports Leagues is quickly approaching. Youth 4 to 18 can participate in softball and baseball, and adults 18 years of age and older can sign up a team to participate in softball and flag football. Spots are limited, so be sure to sign up before February.
Next, Front Row Knows. Listen to Tom and Keith talk a little bit about the Deion Sanders thing that's going to be on tomorrow. You interested in that? I think I'm interested in that. I'm less enthusiastic about Deion than some Florida State fans. Obviously, his greatness duly recognized. I remember all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it tomorrow night if that's what you're asking, but I'm going to watch it definitely.
Sure. Oh yeah.
I was surprised to find that he was a Florida State alum. Like that's when I grew up, was when he was a professional football player. I didn't even see him really
you
play
didn't
baseball.
see the college. Yeah, you didn't.
So, I mean, I do want to – I've seen the highlights, and most of them are all the same kind of little B-roll packages that you see. And
sure.
Obviously, he's got his 4 or 5 core highlights here at his time at Florida State. I wonder how much time they're going to spend on that, if any. But I was never really a huge Deion Sanders fan. I don't believe him to be an uplifter of other people. I think he works his ass off to make the team better, but he doesn't do so by – making others better. I think he makes himself the best he can be, and the best he is, the best version of himself is incredible. One of the great athletes to ever play sports in America. So, that stands by itself and speaks for itself.
I always feel like we're having very different kinds of conversations when we go through the Deion Sanders story, because if we're just talking about the greatest college athletes, pro athletes to ever play any sport anywhere at any time, his name's going to come up, and rightfully so. I do remember his college career. I do remember his pro career. I do remember his career with the Braves. I remember his career in the NFL, and saw all of it in its entirety, and it was right in my wheelhouse. And so there's no getting around some of the famous exploits and amazing moments that he had as an athlete. It's complicated because there are things off the field and off the baseball diamond and away from the cameras of TV that are less flattering. And that's true of everybody. We're all complicated. None of us are perfect. But Deion has had some pretty low lows, in my opinion, that would allow one to assail his character, quite frankly. And then it's mixed because he hasn't always been so friendly to Florida State. His loyalties to the university, or at least his outward, I should say, commitment to Florida State and to his time here has been kind of mixed. But there's no getting around the level of true greatness that he possessed as an athlete. It's freakish.
It's undeniable. And I remember one time I saw him, I think it was LaGuardia, which is stupid, never on a Sunday, never fly out of LaGuardia on a Sunday. But he was getting in line. He had the big fur coat on, and this is, I think he had just retired. I was probably in my 12, 13, 14-year-old range, somewhere in there, middle school age. And you felt it, the presence. You're like, holy cow, it's that guy. Because we play catch in the yard or whatever. I used to high step. Because I was mimicking Deion Sanders. Do the Merton Hanks little thing. I'd do the Deion Sanders high stepping. I'd do the Ken Norton running up to the bag because of the boxing Ken Norton and hitting the bag. But, Deion was, everybody knew who he was at an early age.
I think the thing I remember most, and I'll watch the special just because the behind-the-scenes stuff could reveal something of great interest in terms of what that was like, either that day when he's doing both or just the effort to do both or whatever that backstory would be. But I think the thing I always – and a lot of great athletes do this. I think all the truly transcendent ones do. They make things that are really difficult look really, really easy. And whenever I think about athletes who did that, the first guy I think of besides Bo Jackson is Deion Sanders. Deion made things that are extremely difficult that very few people have ever done to that elite a level, and he did it in more than one sport. He wasn't a great baseball player, by the way, but he obviously possessed some tools that
probably Billy Hamilton with a better stick, right?
Yeah. I mean, he could change the game with his speed. But that said, the fact that there have been so few people that could ever do both, but everything looked effortless. And that's what his makeup speed in pads, that was always the thing that, look, there were guys that I guess you could say in a straight line ran faster than Deion on a track, but they didn't do it with pads on. And he did. Like, that track speed transferred over to the football field, and he would lure quarterbacks into this false belief that somebody was open, and he did it intentionally. And it took me a while as a kid. I would watch that and go, oh, he's beat. But after a while, I just stopped saying he's beat because it just wasn't true. The second you released the ball, he was going to catch up and get there in time.
Here's a question for you. Compare Jalen Ramsey to Deion Sanders and the attention they got. I understand there's a couple of probably qualifiers here. Deion, it's a different era, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's talked about in the social media age, if you care, to put yourself out there. Deion seemed to transcend all sports. I remember him on, commercials for pizza and commercials for soda. And
oh,
all
sure,
that
yeah.
kind of
He's
stuff.
still doing commercials, yeah.
But, I mean, that wasn't all that regular. I mean, outside of, like, specific boxers or pitchers or true sporting superstars, like, anybody can push for anything now on an Adidas video on their Twitter feed or their Instagram page.
Mm-hmm.
But Deion everybody knew who he was across America. So could you compare for me, since you saw both his college career and obviously all of his pro career,
Yeah.
what was he thought of here? And then were we all in on it, and then the world was in on it afterwards? And was that the same or different than Jalen Ramsey?
It's different because he was more prolific than Jalen Ramsey was here. You know, you can make the arguments why Jalen Ramsey wasn't, but Jalen, you know, what do you have, 1 pick here, 2 pick here? I think
hardly threw his way.
I mean, that's true.
He had the one to seal the Miami game down there.
Yeah,
that
but
was
I mean, other
Fowler's
than that, you just
worst moment of his life.
Back in the day, whether it was T-Buck or Deion or others, you know, guys had seasons where they would amass 4 to 8 picks in a single season. Like, you would see the highlights of that guy making plays. Now, of course, Deion, when he would point to the stands and then, you know, return a kick, was a little bit different. So in that way, he was more prolific. He was a much better special teams player than Jalen, much better. His ability, that innateness that you see with the great returners that can make you miss in a phone booth, and the effortlessness with which they glide to find pockets. He had that vision that Jalen never had. Jalen was a pure athlete, a straight ahead, and a bigger, longer, and kind of the hybrid athlete we talk about in today's game.
We weren't sure what his home would be at the next level.
Right.
But we knew he'd be really, really good, and it seemed like the world was kind of split on that. We knew he'd be good. We just didn't know if he'd be exclusively a corner or not.
Well, I mean, Deion was a 2-time All-American, he was a 2-time All-American, so everybody knew how great he was. You're right, the proliferation of media hadn't happened yet, so it wasn't a year-round, nonstop, constant spotlight on a singular individual who was that good, or even a handful of guys. I mean, Deion, 89 was his last year, so I was a senior in high school, and I remember coming up with my dad and all that. But, I mean, Deion was an elite player and was known as such, but Florida State hadn't yet won a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State hadn't had the 14 years of top 4 finishes.
Yeah, we hadn't had a guy other than, you know, Ron Simmons or Blitnikov,
right,
or
we
maybe
weren't
a couple
the
others.
dynasty Knowles, so we weren't covered in the same way that we were covered when Jalen was here, or we hadn't become this thing in the world of college football yet. We were on the verge of it.
Yeah.
And he's a big part of why that got there, right? We were on the cusp of it by the time he left. You can start to argue late 80s is when Florida State arrives on the scene for good and says, okay, we are now part of the larger discussion annually about who's going to do what in college football, and he helped usher that period in.
Well, in watching Jalen's transition from college to pro, it was the combine, I think, that opened most people's eyes around the country. It wasn't Florida State football, and that's not to say that they didn't know he'd be a first-round pick. Everybody projected that. But then he goes to the combine, and everybody goes, whoa, what are we dealing with here? And we all kind of knew that already.
Yeah.
We knew that he'd go out there to Indy and absolutely kill.
But
that day.
Jalen hasn't, as good as he is, and you're right, and it'll be interesting to see where his career goes. By the early 90s, by 93, 94, 95, Deion Sanders, it was agreed upon, his pro career at this point, much more notable, despite how great he was in college, than his college career. And that's because now the nation knew about him as opposed to a pocket of people that really liked college football. College football now is very popular.
That's true.
So by the time his career takes off in the NFL, now everybody's watching. NFL was king, and everybody knew about him. He also, Jalen is not a transcendent player yet. He is a Pro Bowler, just like Deion was. He is an elite player. He has a chance by the end of his career to maybe even be a Hall of Famer.
Well, he's got one of the biggest mouths in the sport, and they have that in common. And people do regard him as probably the best corner in the game.
Right? I think he's exceptional. But every weekend, it felt like in the NFL, you would watch something that Deion Sanders did that involved a high step, a return for a touchdown, a special teams play, something that wowed you. I don't know if it's because Jalen is in Jacksonville and he's been in the league for such a short time, or that because the way people market themselves. Deion was the first to do that too.
Yeah.
One of the things I can not the first to do
that.
It
could be analytics too that say stay the hell away. Why are you even challenging somebody like that?
That's right. Deion's famous quote about, I thought Detroit was going to draft me and I would have asked for so much money they would have had to put me on layaway. that became a big deal. Like the way this persona that he developed, that didn't really exist at Florida State.
The track jacket and sitting on the leather couch. And,
that didn't exist with the chains and all that.
Yeah.
That didn't exist at Florida State for the nation to see. It just he developed this character, if you will. Neon Deion became a thing later.
Okay.
So he wasn't that here. He was not that guy. Now,
Jalen was that guy. Jalen is, in the NFL, who he was here.
Yeah, sassy.
Yeah.
Old Sassy's been Old Sassy for some time.
I don't know that it's a coincidence he got thrown out of practice when it was an open practice. I'm going to throw that out there, too. But, I mean, he wore shirts with his name on it early on. I mean, you know, it didn't get national media attention. But,
yeah.
I mean, look at who he was in the Miami game. The aforementioned one, he closes with an interception. The immortal gif of him clapping in the face of whoever that was. Was it their tight end?
Yeah, it was right. Yeah,
he's clapping right in his face. They're wearing the smoke uniforms. But you could see the intensity in his eyes. I mean, he was already incredibly demonstrative here.
I think personality-wise, they're very similar in that way and certainly marketable. But Deion was an All-American twice in football. He was a great baseball player, and he ran track. He did amazing things across the board. Of course, Jalen was not on the baseball team. And, you know, you look at Deion's the better athlete. Deion is a transcendent athlete. Deion is one of the greatest athletes of all time.
That, just like, you know.
But I think if Deion had existed in today's media climate, it would have been very, very interesting. I mean, meaning that he got his career started and Florida State was established the way that they are.
Would he have made it out of Florida State? I mean, his every move would have been covered.
Yeah, and it wasn't. And he was well known, and certainly his time in Atlanta. It's funny, the thing about the Falcons is, and I went back and looked it up because I was thinking to myself, by 94, he's already in San Francisco. Deion's gone out of Atlanta, and so it's a flash in the pan.
That's the first game I can really remember with him was that game where he gets away with the PI on Michael Irvin.
Well, on Michael Irvin, right. And then later on, he did it in Dallas on Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
Well, that became a war. This is the pre-salary cap.
Whatever year that was, they were
94,
going for.
Yeah.
It was the NFC Championship game,
and that's why Dallas goes and gets him.
Yes.
In 95,
and that's the commercial with Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders. And
what's it going to take?
Yeah, do you want the signing bonus or a certain amount of years? He says, why not both?
Why not both? Right.
And then it's like you got two different kinds of pizzas or something. But that's when so as a second, third grader in that period of time, which is my era,
that's weird. Yeah.
Everybody knew who he was, and it was mostly about quarterbacks at that point. But Deion was different.
He was the Defensive Player of the Year in 1994. He was he changed the way that corners play the game. That's why I say it's a nuanced talking point when you get into Deion Sanders. There are people who get furious at me because I don't shower him and laud him with praise as a Nole. And then there are people who adore him and hate him and everything in between, and he knows that, and he's been really smart with how he's handled it and made $1 gazillion. It's just there's a lot of stuff over the years. There's a lot of clutter, a lot of things that he's said or done, business-related and things like that.
I think he does a lot of good for youth football.
I don't
as a coach and stuff. He seems to really care about his kids, so, I mean, from that perspective, he looks like a good guy, but yeah, it all seems fake. A lot of it seems so fake, and there's always this arms race and competition between he and Michael Irvin. You could tell they always want to get over on each other.
It's a persona.
Yeah,
there's no doubt. Yeah, no, it can definitely rub you the wrong way. It can also make you laugh. Sometimes they're really
downright funny.
Sometimes they're really good at it.
And people do tell him the truth when they do the interviees. When you
ball,
you get the call.
Yeah, no.
People will talk to him in a way they would never as stuffy anchor.
Because he was an unbelievable player, and they know they're talking. Game recognizes game. It's they know what he was. They know the player he was. Hey, listen, I've never seen anything like it. What was it, a few years ago? He's out here running 40s with guys that were prospects in college, and he's like outrunning a couple of them still. He's in his 50s now. Deion Sanders is still a better athlete than half these kids coming out of college. It's insane. Like you wouldn't doubt that prowess, right? I mean, he could maybe a series or two suit up and be all right.
Oh, especially if he's in the slot or something. Yeah,
he's that kind of freakish athlete. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew, once again. Front Row Knowles up next. Stay tuned for that good stuff. We'll talk to you tomorrow.